different ways that people can do this. But I think I don't like when people put the youth down, because I look at the youth and I see different things. I look at them and I see, oh, wow, I wasn't doing that at their age, you know? I think we got to cut the kids a little bit of slack. And I think also what this particular story here showed me is that all this stuff that happened with Charlie Kirk's death, which I still question, with Charlie Kirk's death, with the donors pulling out of Turning Point USA, Tucker Carlson ended up speaking at a Turning Point event anyway. And the people seemed to welcome him. So who had the right idea here? Charlie Kirk or the donors? Something to think about. Hey guys, this was a savvy clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.
All right, so I listen to Sabby. Her and I don't really politically agree on a bunch of stuff because she's a lot more progressive than I am. And I'm a little bit more conservative. But I like her videos and I like listening to her videos. Let me just change what we're actually doing. And soon we're gonna game. Let me see where all this stuff is. Hold on just 1 second. Let me see. Have to get all this stuff right so people don't go to the wrong thing. So what is our names gonna be? So we can leave it as taken out. We can leave it at taking out the ops. We just gotta take this one back and just put it for chat. And I think we'll do, just chatting. They got one for chit chat, but I don't know what that means. Yeah. Oh snap! King Thuggy in the house. Anime. See now, Thuggy, we watching videos. You know what I mean? So, we watching videos, making comments and stuff like that. So I started watching these things called like Reddit stories or whatever like that, because I was thinking of actually doing these videos on a few of my channels, but I like listening to them. Some of them are stupid, dumbass long, so I usually like listening to the ones that are like 30 minutes. No more series. Yeah. We're gonna get to those. You know what I was playing though, Thuggy? I was playing the original Bloodlines joint. Bloodlines the Masquerade. I was able to install it on my PC, get a plug-in, and I was playing that offline. I played a few minutes of part 2 offline. Like people said, the beginning of it is stupid dumb good. It's just after a while it becomes competitive. But there are more episodes coming. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm really looking forward to is that extraction shooter we're all waiting for, kid. Arc Raiders. Yeah, see, part 2 I wanted to get because I thought it was going to be a little different. But it's okay. It's not bad. But just in the first few minutes of the first game and playing the first few minutes of the second game, you realize how totally different it is. You know what I'm saying? They both supposedly have good stories, but I think in the first one, you feel like you're really part of the story. You know what I'm saying? Even from the part of creating your own character, and you answer all of these questions, and they're like, okay, with your answers to your questions, you're this type of vampire. And you could go with it, or you don't have to go with it. You could be like, nah, bump that. I know I'm this type of vampire. So that's cool and all. Oops, hold on one second. Gotta connect this. Okay, there we go. And then Yeah, I was playing Jump Space. I don't think I didn't beat part one yet. It's been bro, it's stupid dumb long. Part one. I don't even know. I don't know anybody. I've never even seen the video of the ending. You know what I mean? And the way the game is played, there are probably like 100 different endings, depending on the type of vampire you pick, the roles you pick. You know what I'm saying? Is your ending when you like break the masquerade and they assassinate you? You know what I'm saying? So I really never heard of anybody speak of the ending of the first one. You know what I'm saying? So I played the first one a few times and never got to the ending, but got pretty, I won't say pretty far, but I got okay in the game. But there's other series that I thought I finished and a new one came up, like the Walking Dead series. And then I think I just still have to finish the last season, where it's just Clementine and the little boy. The Wolf Among Us. I didn't play it all, and the funny part is I didn't really like The Wolf Among Us the way it was because it was a lot to read. And but one of my friends in school, one of my friends at my job said that was one of his favorite games, and he played through it like mad time. So I was like, yo, I should give that joint another look. But the cool part about the Fable series, which is where The Wolf Among Us is from, yeah, Wolf Among Us 2. But I don't know why it's delayed forever. Bruv, Sensei and yo, what up, kid? How you living, man? Ooh-wee! Electric Quicksand. Yo, so with The Wolf Among Us, the dude who made the Fable series, which is The Wolf Among Us, had a dispute with, like, I don't know if it was Marvel, but had a dispute with some publisher. And he was like, ooh, he was like, yo, bump that. I'm making everything free. So he basically said all of the stuff he's ever written is public domain and anybody could use it. So basically right now, I could come up with a Wolf Among Us game. You know what I'm saying? And they can't do anything about it because it's open source. You know what I mean? So, I guess I couldn't call it The Wolf Among Us because I think that's copywritten. So I just have to call it The Wolf Within Me. I don't know. But I didn't read any other Fable stuff. I think I downloaded a few. You know what I mean? It's Sunday. Already went out and went shopping. There's a supermarket up the block from my house. That's real kind of good that I like going to. It doesn't get too crowded. The music in there is pretty good. And the fact I like is I know where everything is now. Except I did have to ask to do what the tin foil was. But it doesn't get crowded. And that's what I like about too much. So let's get in on this. I have a few choices of what I'm going to listen to next. You're overreacting just because I cheated doesn't mean I can't stay at your apartment. Yeah, I'm going to tell you this right now. You cheat on me, you got to go. But there's ways to do it. And the thing that I like about the IRL stuff, some of it, the information's kind of wrong, especially you have to check the information based on the city you live. But it basically tells you don't make rash decisions when you're hurt. Sit back and do like Khan did. Revenge is a dish best served cold. Let me see if I can get that clip. Because I'm a Trek fan and all. Let me see. Ooh, there we go. No cock. Oh, here we go. Which one do I want? Let's do this one.
Ah, Kirk, my old friend. Do you know the Klingon proverb that tells us revenge is a dish that is best served cold? It is very cold in space.
Which, the only thing that's wrong about that comment is he was in space for a stupid, dumb long time. So I'm not sure how he heard of any Klingon proverbs. But you know, he was fighting a war and all that stuff like that during the what is it called? The eugenics wars or whatever like that. Anyway, I know a lot about Star Trek. I'm a Star Trek fan, you know. Anyway. So all right. So at Thanksgiving, my father announced my sister gets the house. Okay, that's one of those golden child joints. Parents were telling everyone I was too selfish to help the family while I was paying for their mortgage. My dad said I was lucky to have this job when I asked for it. Okay, I started listening to this one. So I'll listen to it later because this is interesting. This is about like another golden child joint. The golden child syndrome is like when you have brothers and sisters or sometimes even cousins and they get treated in a different way than you are, and things that are, how do I say this? Things that are like you just doing normal and doing your best is like very good for you, but them just doing mediocre, they're like getting praise up the anus, like, oh my God, oh my God. And then you get like, let's say all A's and you're on the honor roll and you're like, way to go, kid. That's where you should be. You know what I'm saying? And then little Timmy gets all C's and you're like, Hercules, Hercules. All right, let's lock and load.
My dad said I was lucky to have this job. When I asked...
Now, I will tell you there's some of these which the voices I don't like all the time. This voice, I don't mind. It's like AI, so.
For a raise. After 3 years running his company without one, he refused, then hired my loser golden brother for 3 times my salary. So I quit. But next week I got lucky with a competitor offering 40% more. He was less lucky when 3 other people followed me out, and now they're facing bankruptcy and begging me to come back. All right, Reddit. Strap in because this story is about family business betrayal, golden child syndrome on steroids, and the most satisfying career move I've ever made. It's also about watching karma work faster than Amazon Prime delivery. So I'm 29, been working at my dad's commercial HVAC company since I was 22. Started right out of college with a business degree and an HVAC certification I got on the side because I actually wanted to understand the industry I was getting into. Novel concept, I know. My dad owns SCS, does commercial HVAC installation and maintenance for office buildings, hospitals, schools, the whole 9 yards. When I started, it was pulling in about $8 million a year with 45 employees. Let me paint you a picture of how this family dynamic works. My younger brother Derek, 26.
I was like, what the hell is this long ass message? Let me see that your channel could, it's somebody like selling views or some crap like that. No, buddy, you can just search that online and pay whatever money you can if you want views and likes and all that good stuff. But he gets an E for effort for his hustle. All right, back to Derek, 26. Oh no, that's the
golden
brother.
Child. Always has been. This dude coasted through life on charm and our parents' wallet. Switched majors 4 times in college. Started in business, switched to communications, then marketing, then sports management. Took 6 years to graduate with a degree in sports management from a party school nobody's heard of.
Now that's the problem. When you're in college, right? You have like core classes, and then you have regular classes, and then you have classes for your major, right? So if you transfer and change your major, if you took other classes for your major, that doesn't transfer into the credits that you need for your new major. So you can lose like a half a year to a whole year or more just because you change majors. That's why when you start college, usually they only give you like 1 or 2 major class, usually one major class in the semester, and the rest you're taking as core classes, because you can transfer core classes if you change colleges, if you change majors, it doesn't matter because the core college is based on the actual college, and most colleges have the same core classes basically.
Where the main qualification was showing up drunk to tailgates. His big career move after graduation?
Wait, why would you show up drunk to tailgates? I thought the fun part about tailgating is that you go there and you eat outside the stadium and you get drunk with your friends and then you enter the stadium drunk together, I guess.
Worked as a brand ambassador. Read, handed out free samples. For an energy drink company for 8 months before getting fired for showing up hungover too many times. Then, he consulted for a buddy's startup that failed within 6 months. Then, he tried to launch his own lifestyle brand, selling overpriced gym apparel with motivational quotes. That lasted about 3 months before he gave up. Last I heard before he joined Sterling, he was doing social media marketing for a local restaurant chain, which mostly involved taking pictures of food and posting them on Instagram. He got let go from that too, when they realized his 50,000 Instagram followers were mostly bots he'd paid for, and weren't—
Hey, that's what that dude was just trying to do. He was trying to get me to pay for bot stuff. Why I suck, Mush up in here with his comments. I don't ever come in his streams and insult him. Yeah, man, they trying to sell bots on the streams, man. And then yo, Sensei, you saw that joint with the girl putting in the music and all that stuff like that? I was like, yo, kid, that was kind of good. Not really her playing, but you know, the ability of her showing it. Because you're not buying them bots. It's not nothing new. You can go online. You can get bots for anything. You can get views on Instagram, followers on Instagram, followers on any social media joint you want, but they won't convert to interactivity. So you're going to have like 8,000 freaking followers and you're going to have like 3 likes on a video. You know what I mean? Now, if you have 8,000 followers and you have maybe like 100 likes on a video, that might be kind of normal. You know what I'm saying? Twitch just hit me with like 9 commercials. Missed a few. Really? Oh, okay. So we just been talking about the golden child syndrome and stuff. Watching this joint. So the dude's he was working for the family company for 3 years. The brother wasn't working at anything and going to work drunk and probably like a pseudo alcoholic. Remember them days, Sensei? And just drinking. And then so the family gives him a job and gets paid 3 times more than the kid who actually works and stays focused.
Actually driving any business. But according to our parents, Derek was finding himself and exploring his options and would definitely land somewhere perfect eventually. Meanwhile, I was grinding 60-hour weeks and getting asked when I was going to do something meaningful with my degree. The favoritism wasn't subtle. Never had been. Growing up, Derek got a new car for his 16th birthday. I got to share mom's old minivan and pay for my own gas. Derek's college was fully paid. Tuition, housing, spending money, the works. I got partial tuition coverage and had to work part-time plus take out loans for the rest. Derek's spring break trips to Cancun? Funded. My need for a new laptop for classes? Can't you just use the library
that's what
computers?
it's called?
When
Being born on third base? That's crazy. Oh, yeah, because you only got to wait for a walk to be able to go home. But yeah, golden child syndrome, third base born babies. Yeah.
Derek graduated, finally, after 6 years. They threw him this huge party at a nice restaurant. Invited like 40 people. When I graduated on time with honors and a job lined up, we went to Olive Garden. Just the 4 of us. Dad spent the whole dinner talking about some deal he was working on. And here's the thing that really drove it home. When I started at Sterling, working my ass off, learning the business, Dad would constantly point out every mistake I made. That's not how we do things here, son. You need to think more strategically. Stop trying to change things just to change them. But when Derek freaked up at his various jobs, oh, that company didn't deserve him anyway. They didn't recognize his potential. It's their loss. Meanwhile, I was busting my ass from day one. Started in the warehouse doing inventory and logistics, then moved to project coordination, then operations management. By year 2, I was essentially running the entire day-to-day operation while my dad handled sales and big client relationships. And here's the thing, I was freaking good at it. When I took over operations, we were constantly behind schedule, bleeding money on inefficient routing, and our customer satisfaction scores were hovering around 72%.
Yeah.
Our techs were driving all over the state with no real logic to their routes.
Facts.
We had guys driving past job sites to get to other job sites, racking up insane fuel.
And then you got to add, because some people don't know. Because some people would think, oh, Russ, FaZe, MG, Focus, you was born on third base. Nigga, please. You know how hard I had to study and not be able to go outside? Yo, getting yelled at because you didn't make the right, man, what? Yo, that's why, you know, people be like, oh, you spoil, you this, you that. Spoil for what? I ain't asked my parents for nothing. I got gifts once a year. They were just good because I sacrificed everything to do what they wanted. You know what I'm saying? And all I really asked for was like video game stuff. So Peeps was like, so if you came by my house and you saw the TV, I bought that TV because I didn't eat lunch at school. When you saw all my electronics, my what was it? I had a turntable, I had the DVD player, the receiver, and then the double. I paid for all that stuff just by not eating food. And when I would do chores, I would save up money. And I bought all that stuff. My parents did. I paid for my phone bill, but yeah, I didn't buy clothes. Did I buy? No, I didn't buy my own clothes. I bought my own sneakers, but I didn't buy like Jordans. I bought like Reebok because they were only like $30-something, and you could buy them in different colors. And I didn't like Nikes or Nikes, whatever, because they were real narrow, so they would hurt the side of my feet when I'm trying to walk because they had a real big, like, when the foot curved, there's like a lump inside, and that lump would just be like, what the fuck? Like, yo, that joint hurt my foot. So I think I might have had Jordans once, but I wasn't buying Jordans like when they first came out, like the Jordan 1s. Maybe I had them. I don't even remember, but I didn't buy like a lot of them. You had stop bragging. Some people gotta walk in socks, right? They was walking the Chinese slippers, and yeah, I bought those too. Yeah, if yeah, like you gotta be a certain age to remember Kung Fu slippers. Going to KP Con or 145 and buying them Kung Fu slippers, man. But yeah, man. So sometimes the people you think have that golden child joint don't really have that golden child joint. Yo, I remember one of my homeboys came by my house and was like, yo, Rush, you coming outside? I went to Catholic school. We had stupid dumb homework. We had to write stupid dumb papers. I'm talking about like when I got to college, they didn't ask for that much. And writing stupid dumb papers, taking stupid dumb tests. And I told dude, it was Friday. I was like, yo, I got to study for a test. I got to finish writing a paper. I was like, you don't got homework? Money was like, it's Friday. We don't get homework on Friday. And all I could do was look like, daggone, I should have went to public school. You know what I'm saying? Goodness night, boy. Because, man, the crap I had to go through in Catholics, oh my God. Not to mention having to dress up in a monkey suit every freaking day. I would have rather been able to go to school looking like a bum. Would I have been an emo kid in high school? Nah, because I wouldn't have been an emo kid. I think I still would have been a nerd, but one of the nerds that would have kicked your ass, sort of joint. But I don't think I would have been one of the nerds that, well, we didn't have Pokemon back in those days. But what the kids play? I don't even know what kids played in high school because we weren't really allowed to do that. We snapped on people at my lunch table. And I know in middle school and younger, I had like ColecoVision and all the little video game joints. I had the Defender, the handheld Defender type joint. I don't even know if Peach remember that, kid. I had the Pac-Man, the single joint. It was like a little. I don't even know. Let me see if I can find that. I remember what that is. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let me see. Pac-Man. Pac-Man. I just call it mini portable. Let's say Kalik. Yeah, yo, was it green? I remember it was just light. Yeah, it was white and green, and then it had it was red dashes. B, yo, I want to show you how that was. Yeah, so this is it. This was the one I had. It was the handheld joint in your hand, and you had this, and you turn on like, and then damn, I don't even know. I don't think Amazon is gonna have ColecoVision. Yeah, they ain't gonna have no ColecoVision. I don't even know if I spelled it. Oh wait, Coleco. Nah, it's showing like eyeglasses. Nope, I'm gonna have to. Let's see. No, it was ColecoVision, right? I know. I just call it football head to head because that's head to head football. That's what we called it. Pause with that because I know that. Oh man. All right. Man. Okay. No, that was well. Let me see. Head to head football. Let's say 80s. There we go. This was it. This was it. And it was 2-player too, kid. So you had little red dots. Jesus Christ. Yo, you still needed let me see if they have one that shows it playing. Because you needed a real imagination to freaking play ColecoVision head-to-head football. Okay, this is what it looked like, kid. Now, you see that other side that he's not pressing? That's for your opponent to hold. That's why it was called head-to-head, because you could battle other players or play the computer.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, man. We're struggling. Yeah, man. Being a gamer back in the days was rough, son. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Nope. There we go.
Costs and wasted time. Parts inventory was a disaster. We'd either have way too much of stuff we didn't need or run out of critical components right when we needed them. Within 6 months, I restructured our entire dispatch system, implemented new project management software that actually worked, not the garbage system Dad had bought from his golf buddy, and reorganized our field teams by specialty instead of geography. Suddenly, our commercial guys weren't wasting time on residential calls. Our installation crews weren't getting pulled off jobs to do emergency repairs. Everything ran smoother. Customer satisfaction shot up to 94%. We cut our...
So basically, he worked at the job and he made changes. Oh, just want to show you some of the messed up snacks that I got from going shopping. And I wasn't sure if I was going to get this too, because I was like, nah, let's stick to the diet, yada, yada, yada. But you know, I had to get them Nutter Butters, man. Them Nutter Butters. Oh, yeah. Nothing beats chocolate and peanut butter.
Our overtime costs by 30% while actually improving response times. Turns out when you don't have guys driving 3 hours each way to job sites, they can actually finish work during regular hours. Our safety incident rate dropped to almost 0 because I actually gave a shit about proper training and equipment instead of just buying the cheapest gear possible. I also completely revamped our vendor relationships. Dad had been overpaying for parts for years because he was loyal to suppliers who'd been screwing us on pricing. I brought in competitive bidding, negotiated bulk purchase agreements, and built relationships with manufacturers instead of just going through distributors. Saved us probably $300,000 a year just on materials costs. The preventive maintenance contracts I set up became a huge revenue stream. Instead of just responding to emergencies, we had scheduled service agreements with buildings all over the city. Steady, predictable income. Clients loved it because their systems never broke down. We loved it because we could schedule work efficiently instead of scrambling for emergency calls. I brought in the software systems that let us track everything: job costs, technician productivity, parts usage, customer history. Dad had been running the business off paper schedules and gut feelings. I gave us actual data to make decisions with. By year 3, this year, I'd helped grow the company to $14 million in annual revenue. We were up to 68 employees. I'd brought in 3 major hospital contracts that were worth about $2 million annually combined. The school district deal I landed would run for 5 years and included maintenance contracts for 23 buildings. That alone was worth $4 million over the contract term. I was working 60 to 70-hour weeks minimum, running operational meetings every Monday morning, handling vendor negotiations, personally overseeing our 3 largest installation projects, taking emergency 2 a.m. service calls when our on-duty tech couldn't handle it because I actually knew how to troubleshoot complex systems, interviewing and training new hires, reviewing financials, planning expansion. I was doing the job of at least 3 people and getting paid less than a first-year operations manager at any other company in the industry. And here's what I was getting paid for all this: $62,000 a year. Yeah,
Yeah,
you read that
Mattel
right.
Classic Football
62
too.
grand to run a $14 million.
Let me look at what that looked like. You said Mattel. Oops, can't even spell. Ooh, yeah. Ooh-wee. Yeah, it's almost the same thing, basically. Yeah, but I think this was like single player, and the head-to-head one was like you could play with friends or family or whatever like that. Even though none of my friends played games. Like literally, like some of them did, but it was mostly football games. Like I didn't play foot like they like Madden and stuff. I mean, I played Madden for a little bit. You know what I mean? I bought what do they call it? NHL Hockey EA Sports in '96. Nobody played that. I liked that game. That trick was fire. There was another hockey game, was more animated type joint. It was more arcadey that I liked. It was hockey, and I don't even like watch hockey. And back in those days, I didn't even really watch football that much. I watched football in the '80s more than I did in the '90s. But in the '90s, a lot of my friends started watching a lot of football, and I was just not interested that much. You know what I mean? So when they had the Bears, the Bulls, and all that stuff like that, when everybody was rooting for, because in the '80s, I think everybody was rooting for like the Cowboys or something like that. I like the Oakland Raiders. And then people started like liking the 49ers or whatever. And I like the Washington Redskins for some reason. I forgot why. I think it was like the Cunningham dude, the quarterback. And I like the logo that they don't have anymore because now they're called the Washington Commanders or something like that. Anyway. But yeah, but I didn't play like sports games too much. I liked, what kind of games? I liked like, I wouldn't say fighting games. I like adventure games, like story type games. Like I like Metal Gear type games. Metal Gear. And like when I actually like in the early 2000s, my favorite game was Splinter Cell. So, but also my favorite game was Diablo 2. I played tons of Diablo 2. But the funny thing was I had Diablo 2 on my Macintosh. So, because back in the days, I did a lot of graphic design. So I didn't even really get a PC. All right, I did buy a PC laptop, but that was for like more business. I had to build my own PC, gamer PC, in like the early 2000s. And that was the first PC that was really, really, really for gaming. Because my laptop PC, I didn't play games on it like at all. Yeah, I didn't play games on it at all. So I mostly played like, I played Unreal Champion on the Macintosh, and that was dope, man. They had with Unreal, I think it was Unreal Championship. It wasn't even like 2003 or something. It was the old one in like the 90s. You had mods that would make it so you're playing in Star Wars maps. That game was so butters, and I didn't get, usually FPS joints like would make me dizzy, so I couldn't play games like Doom or the original Wolfenstein, because like it was like sliding back and forth, and I was like, what the freak? My eyes couldn't focus because it just looked like I'm looking at bricks slide from side to side, and it was just annoying. But Unreal stopped that because it wasn't, you didn't see, you weren't running through caves all the time. You were jumping up and down, running around and stuff like that. And the maps didn't have you running through all of that. You had a wide field of view. And then yeah, Diablo 2, man, played that a lot. And then what's the other one? The Battle.net joint that I liked with Warcraft. Warcraft 2 was kind of dope. The original one, even though I do have the remake from Battle.net. Yeah, you know, games. But so this month, mad games, kid. This month, there were other games I threw down on, but the major joints that I threw down on was 1, Battlefield 6, 2, Vampire Bloodline the Masquerade joint, and Arc Raiders. Those are the three big ones. You know what I'm saying? And then there were other ones, like earlier today I bought a DLC for V Rising, and I played V Rising for a few minutes before I was live streaming. And then I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, this is like when I came back from doing a shopping joint, and I said, I sit here and watch all these videos, like the IRL videos, and I could just be live streaming while I'm watching it and enjoying it with other people. Let's keep going.
Operation. No bonuses, no profit sharing, no equity stake, just a salary that wouldn't even cover a decent apartment in most cities. I'd asked for raises twice before. First time after my first year, Dad said, let's see how year 2 goes. Second time
His
after
dad
year
wouldn't even
2,
give him a
he
raise.
said, money's tight right now. Maybe next year. Which was bullshit, because I'd seen the financials. We'd had our most profitable year ever. So 3 months ago, I decided to grow a spine and asked for what I actually deserved. Made a whole presentation. Pulled together 3 years of data showing exactly how much value I'd added. Comparison salaries for operations managers at similar-sized companies in our industry. Average $95,000 to $120,000. Documentation of every major achievement, every contract I'd helped secure, every cost savings initiative I'd implemented. I went into his office on a Tuesday morning. He was reading the newspaper and drinking coffee, doing his usual Lord of the Manor routine. Dad, got a minute? Want to talk about my compensation? He didn't even look up from the sports section. Your what now? My salary. I've been here 3 years, haven't had a raise, and I think it's time we discuss bringing my pay in line with industry standards and my actual responsibilities. That got his attention. He put down the newspaper, leaned back in his chair with this amused little smirk. Industry standards? Son, you're working for family. That's worth more than money. Deep breath. Stay professional. I understand that, but
Now, what you'll hear a lot in these stories is family has to help each other. Nothing's more important than family. And all right, we get it. But you also learn eventually that you have to create boundaries. And you can't have your family break you, where it comes to a point where they're trying to make you feel selfish just because you're trying to look out for yourself while they're trying to look after them. Like I would tell people, right? If you call somebody selfish, they can call you selfish too. Like let's say, I got another butter, right? And let's say one of my homies comes by and says, yo, can I get some of that nutter butter? And I go, no. And he goes, man, you selfish. Well, nigga, you selfish for trying to take it from me. Take your ass to the store and get your own. Why you trying to take mine? I'm trying to enjoy what I bought that I knew was going to be for me. I didn't know you was coming. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, things could go both ways. So just remember that when like family or somebody else calls you selfish or whatever like that. Because they don't know what you went through to get that nutter butter.
But I'm also running the entire operation of a company doing $14 million a year for $62,000. That's not sustainable long term. Sustainable? He actually laughed. You're lucky to have this job. You know how many kids your age would kill to work somewhere their old man could teach them the business? You're getting an education here money can't buy. I've been getting an education for 3 years, while increasing revenue by 75% and improving literally every operational metric we track. I'm not asking for unreasonable. I'm asking for fair. He stood up, walked to his window overlooking the warehouse floor. Classic power move. You want to know what fair is? Fair is, I gave you a shot when you had 0 experience. Fair is, I'm setting you up to eventually take over this company. Fair is, you've got job security most people your age don't have. And you're bitching about salary? I'm not bitching, I'm negotiating. There's a difference. E, here's a negotiation for you. He turned back to face me. You can keep your current salary and be grateful, or you can go test that free market you're so confident about. See how far your 3 years of experience gets you without your daddy's company on your resume. I just stared at him. This wasn't a negotiation. This was a threat. I'll think about it, I said, and left his office. That was on a Tuesday. On Thursday, the bomb dropped. Thursday afternoon, Dad calls an all-hands meeting in the warehouse. Everyone's standing around wondering what's going on. We never do all-hands meetings unless something major is happening. I'm thinking maybe he landed a huge new contract, or we're opening a new location. Nope. Better. So much better. Folks, got some exciting news. Dad's doing his big speech voice, the one he uses with clients. As you all know, SCS has been growing rapidly. That growth means we need to expand our leadership team. So I'm thrilled to announce that my son Derek will be joining us as our new Director of Business Development. He's got innovative ideas and connections that'll take us to the next level. I felt my stomach drop. Derek? Director of Business Development? The guy who got fired from handing out free Red Bulls? And then came the part that made my blood boil. Derek's going to be focusing on expanding our market presence and bringing in new business. He'll be working closely with me on strategy and client relations. This is an exciting time for the Sterling family and the Sterling Company. After the meeting, I cornered my dad in his office. What the hell was that? What was what? Derek? Director of Business Development? He doesn't know shit about HVAC or running a business. He doesn't need to know about HVAC. That's what the technical guys are for.
Okay, they made a mistake with the typo because sometimes I think these are people who don't speak English or they just don't check their subtitles. They mean HVAC, HVAC, not HBC, but HVAC.
He knows people. He's got personality. That's what sales is about. What's his salary? I asked, even though I already knew I wasn't going to like the answer. Dad shifted uncomfortably. That's between me and him. Bullshit. I'm operations manager. I need to know what our overhead looks like. He sighed. He's starting at $175,000 base plus commission structure.
Jesus.
I actually laughed. Couldn't help it. $175,000? Are you freaking kidding me? He's making almost 3 times what I make. He's in sales. Sales is different. Plus, he's got experience in brand development. Brand development? He handed out energy drinks at college parties. Watch your tone. Derek's going to bring fresh perspective. And frankly, your attitude right now is exactly why you're not ready for more responsibility. That did it. That freaking did it. You know what? You're right. I'm not ready for more responsibility here. I quit. His face went from annoyed to shocked in about half a second. You what? I quit. Effective 2 weeks from today. You want to pay your unqualified son 3 times what you pay the person actually running your company? Go for it. But you're doing it without me. Now hold on. No. I asked for fair compensation. You told me I was lucky to have a job. So I'm going to go be lucky somewhere else. I'll send my formal resignation email within the hour. I walked out, went back to my office, typed up the most professional resignation letter I could manage while my hands were shaking with rage, and hit send.
Now, the cool thing about it today is you can do these by AI, and you could just say, well, I don't even like saying ChatGPT because there are like tons of different AI to use. But ChatGPT, can you write me a resignation letter for a company that focuses on HVAC? And then it'll write it for you, and then you just email it. Today you don't even got to write anything. But yeah, it's interesting that he didn't say he had a job lined up and he just quit his job. That's kind of risky to do.
The next few days were weird as hell. Dad tried the whole, let's talk about this routine, but I wasn't interested. Mom called crying, saying I was tearing the family apart. Derek, and this was the best part, actually texted me saying no hard feelings, bro. Like he had nothing to do with this. Like him waltzing in making $175,000 for a made-up position while I was getting peanuts wasn't the entire freaking problem. I didn't respond to any of them. Just showed up, did my job, and started updating my resume. Here's where it gets interesting. 3 of my key people approached me separately during that 2-week period. Ryan, my head field supervisor. Lisa, who handled all our major accounts. And Tom, our lead project manager. All 3 had been with the company for years. All 3 were worth their weight in gold. And all 3 had apparently been as fed up with the family favoritism bullshit as I was. Ryan was first, pulled me aside during a site inspection. Heard you're leaving, he said. Yep, time to move on. Where are you going? Don't know yet, putting out feelers. He was quiet for a minute. Then, I've been thinking about leaving too. This Derek thing is bullshit. We all know it. If you land somewhere good, let me know. I might want to come with you. Same conversation happened with Lisa the next day, and Tom the day after that. That's when I realized I had more leverage than I thought. I started reaching out to competitors, put my resume on a few industry job boards. Within 48 hours, I had 3 companies wanting to talk. By the end of week 1, I had 2 solid offers, but the best one came from Apex Climate Systems. They're the biggest HVAC operation in the state, doing about $45 million a year. Their COO called me directly after seeing my resume. We've been watching Sterling's growth the last few years, he said. Word in the industry is that's mostly your doing. I've had a hand in it, I said, being modest. Our current operations manager is retiring in 6 months. We need someone who can step in and hit the ground running. Looking at your track record, you're that person. We'd be willing to offer $95,000 base salary, performance bonuses that could add another $20,000 annually, full benefits including 401k matching, and we can talk about equity options after your first year. I almost dropped my phone. $95,000 base. That was a 53% increase from what my dad was paying me. Add in bonuses, and I'd be making more than my golden child brother with his bullshit title. When do you need an answer? I asked. Take a few days. Think about it. But between you and me, we'd really like to have you. I didn't need a few days. I knew my answer. But I played it cool, told him I'd get back to him by end of week. I spent the next 2 days casually mentioning this offer to Ryan, Lisa, and Tom. Didn't push anything, just let them know where I was potentially landing. All 3 of them asked if Apex was hiring. By the time my 2 weeks at Sterling were up, I'd accepted Apex's offer and put in a good word for Ryan, Lisa, and Tom. All 3 had interviews scheduled. My last day at Sterling was tense. Dad.
So you see right there, like you usually try when you have a job to make yourself essential, where they know they're going to lose something if they lose you. Some jobs you really can't do that. Other jobs you got to find a way to make it happen. Usually either knowing something or having access to something that is difficult for someone else to gain access to. Usually that's what it is. It's not usually like not knowing something, but having access to put things together that other people may not know how to do. Yeah, but even that sometimes doesn't help. Because usually for jobs, you're like fodder. So, yeah.
Dad tried one final time to get me to stay. You're making a mistake, he said. This company was going to be yours someday. No, it wasn't, I replied. It was going to be Derek's. You made that pretty clear when you hired him for 3 times my salary to do a job he's not qualified for. He's family. I'm trying to give both my sons opportunities. You gave him an opportunity. You gave me a lesson in knowing my worth. Thanks for that. Genuinely. I walked out, didn't look back, started at Apex 2 weeks later. The job was everything they promised. Better facilities, better equipment, better systems. And I actually had a budget to work with instead of having to beg for every goddamn thing. Within my first month, I'd identified 3 major efficiency improvements we could implement. My boss actually listened to my ideas and gave me the resources to execute them. Best part? Ryan, Lisa, and Tom all got hired within 6 weeks of me starting. Ryan became a senior field operations manager. Lisa took over 2 of their largest accounts. Tom got promoted to regional project director. All 3 were making more money than they'd made at Sterling, with better benefits. Meanwhile, back at SCS, shit was apparently falling apart. I didn't hear about it directly at first, but word travels in this industry. People talk. Technicians know technicians. Project managers grab beers together. Sales reps gossip worse than high school kids. And apparently, Sterling was becoming a shit show of legendary proportions. Derek, shockingly, turned out to be completely freaking useless at his made-up position. Week 1, he spent most of his time getting new business cards printed and setting up his office. Week 2, he wanted to rebrand the company and hired some designer friend to mock up a new logo that looked like it was made in MS Paint. Dad actually approved the $15,000 invoice for this garbage before someone with sense shut it down. Week 3, Derek decided we needed a company Instagram account to connect with younger clients. Posted pictures of himself in a suit standing in front of HVAC equipment with captions like boss vibes and building the future, one system at a time. Got about 47 followers, 40 of which were his friends or bots. His business development mostly consisted of taking long lunches with potential clients that never turned into actual
There goes bots again. You see how popular bots seem to be?
contracts. He'd come back from these lunches talking about all these promising connections and relationships he was building. But I heard from the warehouse guys that his expense reports were just receipts from steakhouses where he was eating alone or with his college buddies.
Wow.
The few leads he did bring in were either too small to be worth pursuing, or he'd made promises about pricing and timelines that were completely unrealistic. He quoted one school district job at 40% below cost because he didn't understand how to calculate installation expenses. Dad had to personally call them and renegotiate, which made us look incompetent. Another time, Derek promised a hospital we could install a complete new HVAC system in 6 weeks. Our actual timeline for that scope of work was 4 months minimum. When I pointed this out in a meeting, Derek said, "We just need to be more aggressive with deadlines." Yeah, because physics and building codes totally care about your
Physics.
aggressive timeline, dumbass. But the absolute worst was when he tried to upsell a longtime client on a system upgrade they didn't need. This was a client we'd been working with for 15 years. They trusted us. Derek straight up lied about their current system failing to try to make a sale. The facility manager called my dad directly to complain. We almost lost a $200,000 annual maintenance contract because Derek thought he was playing used car salesman. He spent most of his time posting on LinkedIn about disrupting the HVAC industry with thought leadership posts he clearly didn't write himself. 5 ways climate control is revolutionizing modern business. Why your HVAC system is actually your best employee. Cringe shit that got like 12 likes from other people's moms. Without me handling operations, my dad had to step back in, but he hadn't run day-to-day operations in 3 years. He didn't know the new systems I'd implemented, didn't understand the workflows I'd optimized.
You see that? So he put in systems, he put in workflows, I guess, but the person that takes over didn't understand it because he wasn't the one that actually used it or did it. So that's what makes you invaluable.
Didn't know which vendors we were using or why. Kept reverting to old methods that hadn't worked, which is exactly why I'd changed them in the first place. I'd set up this whole digital dispatch system where techs got assignments on tablets with all the job history, parts needed, customer notes. Dad went back to calling guys on the phone and having them write shit down on clipboards. Response times immediately doubled. I'd negotiated bulk pricing agreements with our main suppliers. Dad apparently let some of those lapse and went back to ordering shit at retail prices because we'd always worked with them before. Never mind that I'd gotten us 35% discounts by committing to volume orders. The preventive maintenance scheduling system I'd built, Dad didn't understand how it worked, so they just stopped using it. Went back to reactive service calls only. Lost thousands in predictable monthly revenue. Without Ryan, their field operations went to hell. Response times doubled. They started missing deadlines. Customer complaints shot up because nobody was coordinating the techs properly. Guys were showing up to jobs without the right parts. Jobs were getting scheduled without checking if the crew had the expertise needed. I heard one story about a commercial installation that took 3 weeks longer than quoted. because nobody thought to verify that the team they sent actually knew how to install that particular system type. They had to bring in an outside contractor to finish it, ate the entire profit margin plus extra, and the client was pissed. Without Lisa managing major accounts, they started losing contracts. She'd spent years building relationships with facility managers and purchasing directors at our top accounts. She knew their buildings, their equipment, their budget.
Well, that is true. So if you do know your boss is married and you could follow him to a particular hotel with his secretary or lady friend, and these days it's easy because you could just put on like a little disguise and just have a camera like right there, and you could just videotape it, or you could just do it the old-fashioned way, sit in a car and just get a telescope lens on your well, actually you could just zoom in with your camera with your phone these days, but yeah, either or, and then take those pictures, do it the old-fashioned way, print them out, and and just tell them Ray's or Mrs. So-and-so might get these pictures. Yeah, that works.
Budgets, their priorities. She'd remember that the maintenance supervisor at St. Mary's Hospital liked his coffee black and hated phone calls before 9 a.m., that the school district procurement officer needed everything submitted 30 days before board meetings, that the county facilities director was a huge Broncos fan, and you better not schedule work during game days. Whoever they replaced her with didn't have those relationships, didn't have that knowledge, started treating these long-term clients like they were brand new accounts, sent generic proposals instead of customized solutions. The school district actually called Lisa at Apex to ask what was going on with Sterling. That's how bad it got. Without Tom running project management, their installation jobs started running over budget and behind schedule. Tom had been the guy who could juggle 12 projects simultaneously and somehow keep them all on track. He knew how to sequence work to maximize efficiency, knew which contractors were reliable and which ones needed constant supervision, knew how to spot problems before they became expensive disasters. The new project management team didn't have that experience. Jobs that should have taken 4 weeks were taking 7. Budgets that should have had 25% margins were barely breaking even or running at a loss. Clients were calling to complain about delays, and Dad didn't have good answers because he didn't actually know what was happening on the sites. I heard through the grapevine that my dad tried to hire replacements, but Sterling's reputation in the industry was taking a serious beating. Good people didn't want to work there when they kept hearing stories about the nepotistic disaster that was Derek's hire and the mass exodus of experienced staff. The word was out. Sterling wasn't a professional operation anymore. It was a family drama playing out with a business license. 3 months after I left, I ran into one of Sterling's warehouse guys at a supply distributor. Nice kid, always worked hard. "How's it going over there?" I asked. He looked around like he was worried someone might hear. "Dude, it's bad. We lost the hospital contracts. 2 of the school district buildings dropped us. Everybody's working crazy overtime trying to keep up, and your dad's losing his shit. Derek doesn't do anything except walk around acting important. Half the guys are looking for new jobs." "Sorry to hear that," I said, and I meant it for the employees, not for my dad. "Don't be sorry, man. Everybody knows they did you dirty. You deserved better." 2 weeks after that conversation, my phone rang. Blocked number. I almost didn't answer, but figured what the hell. "Hello? It's your father." "Oh, this should be good. What can I do for you, Dad?" "We need to talk. About you coming back." I actually pulled the phone away from my ear and looked at it, like maybe I'd heard wrong. "You want me to come back? Things have been challenging since you left. We need someone with your experience to stabilize things." "And what about Derek? Still director of business development, making $175,000? Silence.
Wow.
"He's transitioning to a different role." Translation. "We realized we freaked up, but don't want to admit it outright. Here's my counteroffer," I said. "No. Don't be childish about this."
No.
"I'm not being childish. I'm being professional. You had a chance to treat me fairly. You chose to treat me like shit while handing my underqualified brother a golden parachute. That showed me exactly where I stand with you. I've moved on. You should too. I'm offering you operations director. $90,000 salary. I'm already making $95,000 base plus bonuses at Apex. Try again. Fine. $100,000. And we'll discuss equity." "You'll discuss it? That's not an offer. That's a maybe. Plus, even if you gave me $100,000, you're asking me to come back to fix all the problems you created by not listening to me in the first place. Why would I do that? Because it's family business. Because you'd be an owner someday. You know what? I'm done with this conversation. Good luck, Dad." I hung up, He called back 3 more times that day, left increasingly desperate voicemails. I didn't respond to any of them. Then Mom started calling. Then Derek, of all people, sent this long text about how the family needs me and how we're all struggling. And could I please just talk to Dad? Nope. Blocked, blocked, and blocked. 2 more months passed. I heard through multiple sources that Sterling was circling the drain. They'd lost about 40% of their contracts. Revenue was down to around $7 million, lower than when I'd started working there. They'd had to lay off about a third of their workforce. Word was that Dad had taken out a massive loan to try to keep things afloat, and now they couldn't make the payments. Then I got a call from a business attorney I'd never met. Said he was representing S in potential bankruptcy proceedings, and my father had given him permission to reach out to me about possibly consulting to help restructure the company. How bad is it? I asked. Without significant operational improvements and new contract revenue within the next 90 days, they'll have to file Chapter 11. And you think I can fix that? Your name came up repeatedly when we interviewed employees about what changed. Before and after your departure, I let that sink in. 3 years of my work systematically dismantled in 6 months because my dad was too stubborn and too busy playing favorites to recognize what he had. I'm going to be honest with you, I told the attorney. I have zero interest in saving that company. None. My father had the chance to value my contributions when I was there. He chose not to. That's on him. I understand, but I'm obligated to ask, is there any circumstance under which you'd consider helping? I thought about it. Thought about all those employees who didn't deserve to lose their jobs because of my dad's ego. Thought about the clients who'd get screwed if Sterling went under mid-contract. Thought about the satisfaction of making my dad admit he was wrong. Here's the only scenario I'd consider, I said. Full ownership transfer to me. He signs over 100% equity in the company. He exits completely. No advisory role, no board seat, nothing. I bring in a management team I trust, restructure however I see fit, and he has zero input. Those are my terms. That's a significant ask. That's my only offer. And honestly, he should take it. Because without me, that company is dead anyway. With me, at least the employees keep their jobs and the clients get served. He walks away with nothing either way. This way, at least something survives that has his name on it. I'll relay that to my client. 2 days later, Dad called me from his attorney's office. On speaker, "These terms are outrageous," he started. "Then don't accept them. File bankruptcy. Lose everything. But don't waste my time pretending you have leverage here. I built this company. I'm not just handing it over. You didn't build it. You founded it. I built it. The $14 million version that existed when I left, that was me. The $7 million disaster it is now, that's you and Derek. So yeah, you are handing it over. Or you're shutting it down. Your choice." His attorney jumped in. "Perhaps we could discuss a partnership structure where no partnerships, full transfer or nothing. Silence on the line." I could practically hear my dad's teeth grinding. "You're screwing your own father," he finally said. "No, I'm offering to save something you destroyed. You're just pissed that saving it means admitting you were wrong about everything. About me, about Derek, about what this company needed. And you know what the really funny part is? If you'd just given me a fair raise and treated me with basic respect, none of this would be happening. You'd still have your company. I'd still be running it. We'd still be growing. Instead, your ego killed your business. I'm just offering it a transplant." More silence. "I need time to think about this." "You have 48 hours. After that, my offer expires and you can figure it out yourself." "Clock's ticking, Dad." I hung up. Those 48 hours felt long. Part of me expected him to reject it out of pride. Part of me didn't even know if I wanted him to accept. Did I really want to go back to Sterling? Even if I owned it? But there was something poetic about it. The company he'd refused to treat me fairly at. Signing it over because his pride destroyed it. The golden child position he'd created getting eliminated. Me coming back not as the undervalued employee, but as the owner. Yeah, I wanted that. "Hour 47, his attorney called. "He's accepting your terms. We'll start drawing up the paperwork." He's actually going through with it? He doesn't have a choice. It's this or liquidation. And between you and me, I think losing the company to his son is slightly less humiliating than losing it to creditors. The paperwork took 3 weeks. Ownership transfer, loan assumption, restructuring agreements. I brought in my own attorney to make sure every detail was ironclad. No loopholes, no takesy-backsies. The day we signed everything, my dad looked like he'd aged 10 years. Sat across from me at the attorney's conference table, barely making eye contact. "You're making a mistake," he said as he signed the final page. "This company needs family at the helm. It has family at the helm, I replied. Me, just not the family member you wanted? Derek wasn't even at the signing. I'd made it clear he was terminated effective immediately as part of the deal. Heard later he threw a massive fit, threatened to sue me, threatened to sue Dad. Dad apparently told him to grow up and get a real job. Almost felt bad for him. Almost. As my dad stood to leave, he tried one last manipulation. Your mother's devastated, you know. This is killing her. Then she should have spoken up when you were treating me like garbage. Actions have consequences. Turns out that applies to parents, too. He left without another word. I officially took over SCS on a Monday. Spent the first week doing damage assessment. It was worse than I thought. Not just lost contracts and revenue. The entire company culture had turned toxic. Morale was in the toilet. People were afraid to make decisions. Everything was running on outdated systems because nobody had authority to implement changes. The warehouse was a mess. Inventory system had degraded back to paper clipboards. Found about $80,000 worth of parts that had expired or been sitting so long they were obsolete. The shop was disorganized. Tools missing, work bays cluttered, safety protocols being ignored. Talked to the techs who'd stayed. Most were looking for other jobs. The good ones felt disrespected and overworked. The mediocre ones were coasting because there was no accountability. Customer service was answering calls at like 60% rate. The rest went to voicemail that sometimes got checked. Our response time for service requests had gone from 4 hours to 2 days. 2 days for commercial HVAC emergencies. The financials were even worse than I expected. Not only was revenue down to $7 million, but profit margins had collapsed. Jobs that should have been profitable were barely breaking even because of poor estimating and worse execution. Overhead costs had actually increased despite lower revenue because Dad had been throwing money at problems instead of fixing root causes. First move, hired Ryan, Lisa, and Tom away from Apex. Took some negotiating, they were happy there, and I had to match their current salaries plus some. Ryan wanted $120,000. Lisa wanted $115,000. Tom wanted $125,000, plus equity stakes. I gave each of them 5% ownership immediately with the option to vest into more based on performance. All three agreed to come back as partners with skin in the game. Second move, brought in an HR consultant to rebuild the culture. Exit interviews with people who'd left. Anonymous surveys with people who stayed. The feedback was brutal, but useful. Management doesn't communicate. Nobody knows what the plan is. Derek was a joke. We miss the old leadership. Company feels rudderless. Created actual job descriptions for every position. Proper compensation structures tied to industry standards. Clear advancement paths so people knew how to move up. Performance review processes. Training programs. No more nepotism, no more favoritism. Just merit-based everything. If you did good work, you got recognized and paid accordingly. If you didn't, you got coached or counseled out. Rebuilt the operation systems I'd originally implemented. Brought back the digital dispatch. Renegotiated vendor contracts. Reinstated the preventive maintenance program. Fixed the inventory management. Set up proper project management protocols. Everything that had been working before I left, brought it all back, plus improvements I'd learned at Apex. Third move, reached out personally to every client we'd lost or was thinking about leaving. This wasn't delegatable. I called facility managers, purchasing directors, maintenance supervisors, explained the ownership change, took responsibility for failures they'd experienced, introduced the new management team, and outlined specifically how we were going to fix problems. Some were skeptical, rightfully so. We'd screwed up their buildings, missed deadlines, cost them money. But enough were willing to give us another shot, especially the ones who remembered working with me before. The hospital that had dropped us, got them back with a 6-month probationary contract. The school district, let us bid on their next project. It took 6 months of grinding before we stabilized. Every day was putting out fires and rebuilding trust. But revenue started climbing back up. Client retention improved. We rehired some of the laid-off employees who'd been good. Started winning new contracts. Year 1 under my ownership, we hit $12 million revenue. Not back to the $14 million peak yet, but climbing. Year 2, we hit $16 million. Year 3, last year, we cracked $20 million. SCS is now worth more than it's ever been. We've got 95 employees, all of them paid fairly. Ryan, Lisa, Tom, and I each own 25% of the company. We make decisions together. Everybody gets profit sharing. Culture is solid. And my dad? Last I heard, he and mom downsized to a smaller house. Derek's working sales at a car dealership in another state, bouncing from job to job like always. None of them have reached out since the ownership transfer went through. I haven't reached out to them either. Do I feel bad about how it went down? Sometimes, yeah. Would have been nice to have a family that actually valued me. Would have been nice if Dad could have just paid me fairly and treated me with respect from the start. But mostly, I feel free. Free from the constant disrespect, the favoritism, the being taken for granted. Free from waiting for approval that was never coming. Free from watching my work get credited to someone else or dismissed as lucky. Some people say I was too harsh. That family should forgive. That I should have worked something out where Dad kept partial ownership. Freak that. Forgiveness doesn't mean letting people keep hurting you.
Facts.
Family doesn't mean accepting disrespect. And keeping someone involved who destroyed what you built isn't noble. It's stupid. YouTube just dropped this new hype.
All right, so let me see. 9 years after, 9 years of 911 shit. My sister John Falcon. Yeah. All right, my parents told me Grandpa passed away. Yeah, we'll see. All right, let's go with this delusional female type stuff. Wait. It's 12 o'clock. Sunday service.
¿Por qué?
Porque tú siempre lo haces.
All right, so
Para noticias, para información.
if you don't know, if you're on the East Coast, Mid Coast, there was a place you could go if you want to fly into a town and be surrounded by the ladies. It took 3.5 hours to get there, and that town was called Sosua. Now, Sosua has changed now. The girls have gone. The beaches has been rebuilt, basically, with the places closing and construction going on and stuff like that. But next week there's a Halloween joint going on. I went to last year's Halloween joint, but everything was still like it was last year. This year, things done changed. So this is my homie Greg. His call sign is Flip Flop, because he owns this spot called Flip Flop Sports Bar. So let's see what he got to say.
Hey, look.
If he's going to say anything
This
about
don't kill
Sosua.
my vibe. Canadian don't kill my vibe.
Sometimes he just rants about how he was when he was little. But
Halloween don't kill my vibe. What up with y'all? Let me put my headphones. I did my best.
and I got this dude a freaking well, now I got him a mic, but he's still using mic headphones. He probably accidentally lost my joints or accidentally dropped them in a liquor glass.
Razor Ray's impression coming in late. Shout out to Razor Ray. Shout out to Razor Ray. Came in late. My bad. I used the bathroom. Woo. Happy Sunday to everybody.
So if you're interested in going to the DR, yeah, just going to the DR in general, look up his channel and a few other channels. There's a dude called Mr. T. He was like probably one of the first dudes that talked about DR Sosua kind of specifically, even before Greg, because Greg was like a little bit while later. But I knew Greg before because we were in a group called Caribbean Conquest together.
Let me catch up on the comments. Clayway TV, what up with my bro?
What's
Ted
that?
in the building. See you soon. Dirty Workers, what up? He said, chat.
That was when I was wife hunting in DR tournament.
I got things going on. Big shout to Filter Free for the dope ass Paradise Life, Dominican Republic.
Yeah, so Paradise Life is the group that he's the sensei of that group. I'm just a member, you know what I mean?
some dope shirts. I gotta admit that. Got some dope shirts. But yeah, we sold out the party bus, sold out Ground Zero for the Halloween party. You know, we getting busy. We getting busy. Best friend forever, what up? Salute Hershey. Oh, shout out to Hershey Park. Bring me some send me some chocolate. Las Vegas Sports Talk, what up with you? Shout out to everybody in the villa. We check in on Wednesday. And I'll see all you guys on Thursday for the meet and greet, as well as the
Paradise
ball
Life
crawl.
shirt.
M. Dot in the building.
Hey, can y'all see it?
Ted, yeah, see you in 2 days, my brother. Y'all can donate to the Sangria Fund. I will not be drinking Sangria today. I'm getting ready for one of the greatest workouts I've ever had. Well, the second greatest, because I had a great workout the other
Got
day.
that last year on my trip.
One of my old school workouts.
All right, let me skip this.
Get your VIP bag and stuff like that, your band.
Yeah, he's just basically getting people ready.
I didn't even see what you did, Pain Wins? I didn't even put that together. I didn't even think about it.
Halloween trip.
But like I said, people should be careful.
And I will tell you, that trip was nice. Let me give you a little breakdown of how that trip was. So, and let me tell you some caveats. So yeah, I had an ex-main. She wasn't in Sosúa, she's from Puerto Plata, right? So I wasn't gonna call her. I really didn't speak to her for a long time, and would maybe only speak to her maybe once a year or whatever like that. But I haven't gone to Sosúa before last year for maybe, before the pandemic. So you go there. Oh my God, this was the first joint, kid. If you traveling, don't Jesus Christ. Remember your freaking bags. So when I travel and I'm only going for a short trip, I don't check in bags. Usually if I'm going to the DR, I don't check anything in. I have my book bag with my electronic joints in and a duffel bag with my clothes. And I carry that with me on the plane. So when we're let out the plane, I get out mad quick. Also because I picked a seat near the exit. So when I get out there, I got out there like mad early. The cab driver wasn't even, not the cab, but the dude that was going to be our driver for the whole trip. He was going to pick us up. So I finally caught up with him. We stayed there standing for like an hour and something because we were waiting for another dude. Bro, the driver tried to call him, no answer, this and that, no answer. So after we saw even the border dude who stamped my passport leave, we said, hi, we out. So we out. We driving back. We basically get almost there to Sosúa. And we had to turn around because the dude called. And I don't know what the freak he was doing in the air. This dude must have been like looking around at the duty free stuff. That's all he could have been doing. Because the airport's not that big. And if he was on the same flight as me, it could not have taken him that long to get out. You know what I'm saying? And get his bag. So we go back and we pick him up. Then we drive, literally, we are a half a block from where we're supposed to meet up with Flip Flop, right? Basically, meet up and have all our bags there at the restaurant, right? Literally across the street. Now, I could have jumped out the van and not been a 10 player. Just be like, yo, let me get my bags out. And literally my bags was like all around me. So it was only 2 bags. And I could have just hopped out, across the street, and got something to eat and chill. Because literally when I fly, I usually don't eat. And on JetBlue, going to the DR, they really only give you chips and a soda. I mean, you can get a few more if you got them quick hands. But, so he realized he left one of his bags at the airport. So when we're a half a block when we were supposed to get off, we had to drive back another 30 minutes back to the airport. Then the driver called one of his connections and said, oh yeah, they found your bag. Basically the police or whatever has it, and you got to go to the second floor and get it. So he got out the van, went all the way up to the second floor. We had to wait for him to come back. So he finally came back, and then we could go to Flip Flop. That was an interesting time. That never happened to me. But that's because when I'm with my bags, the only song in my head is Please don't go. Don't go. Electric Quicksand, he's on third base. Nah, that dude's a hard ass worker, kid. So what happened is this. So first joint is the meet and greet. We all chilling, yada yada yada. Then we go to the villa. Because you could pay to stay at the villa or just pay to go to the events. I paid to go to the events and stay in the villa. I want the total experience type joint. So the cool part is we all picked different, we all had to run for different rooms. I was basically trying to pick the room where my knees won't hurt every time I'm trying to get out the bed. So the first room I had, the bed was stupid dumb low. So I tried to get up. I said, man, my knees gonna be killing me every time I get out of bed on this joint. So this other dude basically was like, yo, you want this room? I said, yeah, bet. So I got another room, and he was a shorter dude. So, you know, his bed was like that bed was like normal size for him. Might have been big for him. So then we ate, and then Brother Flip bought some guests for us to chill with. Me like a dummy, I called old girl. She came, I don't know, like an hour or two later, probably an hour and a half later. Gave a big hug and kiss, yada, yada, yada. Told me the story about how I've known her for 10 years. I was like, how? I thought it was like 6 or 7 years. But she said I met her when she was like 18 or something. I said, I thought you was 20. And she said, no, she was 18. I was like, okay, I don't know. Women lie. But I didn't care. 18 is still legal. I wouldn't go under 18. That's crazy. It's weird. At least because I'm American. If I was English, what did my English friend said? Old enough to bleed type joint? Anyway. So, usually at the Halloween party, at least the Halloween party I went to, you had the meet and greet. You had the boat party where this was actually kind of fly. You had basically 3 yachts, right? Oh my God. The first yacht I got on, it was okay. I tell you, it was okay. But it was Crunchyroll small, right? So me and this other 2 dudes, he had a boat. Let me see. I think it's funny that the first thing I noticed about Mr. 45 videos, he had a camera. Yeah, Flip. Yeah, right? That was man funny. And so he, me and this other dude went on this boat. It was funny because you had to jump down, right? So I jumped down. And you know, it's slippery. So I slipped. And like, you know, I didn't fall or nothing because it's a boat. And everybody on the boat was like, on the boat was like, oh! I was like, I don't know how to swim in salt water. Right? The only thing I was afraid of is, you know, don't let nothing happen to my phone because I had my phone with me. But I had a vest and my phone was zipped up. So, you know, it couldn't come out. Anyway. So we went to the other boat. The other boat was easy. All you had to do was walk on the boat. You know what I mean? In the first boat, you basically had to like climb on the boat. It was crazy. So I had a seating position right where I knew the food was because you was going to have chicken, you were going to have hot dogs and stuff like that. Mind you, there's mad girlies walking around all over the place. More girls than dudes. I was highly pleased. It was like that on the first boat, but the girls on the second boat to me looked better. And then like all the boats was moving, you had music, then the food came out, yada, yada, yada. It was dope. Then the boats merged together and you could walk from boat to boat to boat. Man, girlies walking around. It was hot. The only thing was, one of the dudes was smart. He bought these water slippers on. So he wore slippers. Me like a dummy. I don't know. I think I wasn't thinking about going on the boat. I thought, I don't know. I really didn't think it through about how we was going to get on the boat. And I seen people, you had to take a smaller boat to the other. But I thought, you know, you'd be able to walk on it. And I forgot when you jump off the boat on the beach, water's going to hit your feet. So water was hitting my feet all over. And I had sneakers on and socks. So basically, I took my sneakers on off and my socks off. No, actually, I think I lost my socks. My socks is probably in the Sasua Ocean right now. So at least for that day. So I was walking bare feet on the bridge on the beach, and but it wasn't the beach. It was the beach slash where people sit and eat type joints. So there are tree trunk veins there, and I'm trying to walk to avoid things. Oh man, I ain't gonna step on nothing to get my foot cut. So I put my saltwater feet inside my shoes, and then walking. So then another thing they had was they had a river party where there were two options because like I paid for all of the options, but this was like to go on an ATV and then take the ATV to the river. I was like, man, I ain't going through all that nonsense. And it was drizzling rain that day too. I was like, I ain't going through all that nonsense. And then I got to put all the muddy clothes back into my duffel bag. No, thank you. So I went with the van, and it was okay. You had food, you had mad loud music, but there wasn't that many girlies, and there wasn't really anything to see. So that was probably like the wackest part of the trip. But then you had the mansion party, which was awesome. It was dope. And I missed some of it because I had to go to, let's just say some money went missing. And I had to go get some more cash. I mean, I had cash, but I wanted to get more cash because I wanted to buy some more shirts and do some stuff. And I didn't want to wait until I wanted to have that money with me. So I wouldn't have to, I like getting things done instead of like waiting for the last minute. So we had to find a little town because it was like Saturday or some crap like that. And most of the Western Union in Sasua were closed. So we had to go to another town. So I had to pay a driver to go to another town to go to the Western Union, send myself money, get the money, and then go back to the party. So I missed maybe like an hour and a half of the party. Man, just sounds great. I think I'd happily skip the boat. No, bro, nah. You skipped the riverboat party. No, it wasn't riverboat party, but you skipped the river party. But you would not skip the boat party. The boat joint was fire, kid. Yo, it was dope. That was really, really good. The mansion party was, oh my God. Girlies, and it was cool because I'm staying at the mansion, and the mansion was where the party was, right? So my room was like near the stage. So girls was asking, could they change in my room, right? Some dudes was like, yo, you can come change in my room, but there's gonna have to be some kind of exchange. I wasn't doing that. I just thought it was mad funny. Some chick left her panties. I was like, what the frick is this? I tried to find her to give it back to her. Couldn't find her. I think I'm friends with her on Facebook now. Like, I don't know. Anyway, so that was fun. It was a good ass time. It was dope. It was worth every penny. It wasn't, well, to me now, before I would have said it wasn't that much money, but now, I'm broke, so it was expensive for me. But it was a good time, and I didn't regret spending one single dime there. It was dope. This year, and also we went to hang out, but a whole lot of stuff happened at the place we hung out this year, where the owner, I don't know what happened. I'm not going to speak on it, but some stuff happened with the owner. It was, oh my gosh, Rumba was the place. I didn't hang out that as much as I thought I was going to do. Like, they went to this club that's near the airport, but I was so tired. What happened was, so it was stupid though. I traveled on a boat, going fishing on a boat. I think I want to be at a boat party, not when there's nah. But what happens is everybody left the mansion to go to the boat party. So the girlies that was one day, and then the mansion party was another day. So there were different events planned, right? So one time, it was raining like hard, right? Some dudes was on the beach, and they got stranded on the beach, and they met up with some Haitian chicks. I just wanted to go home and sleep because I was tired. I got a massage that day. I think so. No, I think I got a massage the other day. I just went to the massage parlor because I told the girl I'd get her some chocolate candy. So anyway, the van finally comes, and these two dudes are with three Haitian chicks. I didn't want to hang out with these chicks. So, but it was fun because the mansion had two sides, right? So we left the one side that our rooms was on and went to the other side that I really didn't see yet. And so they were dancing and stuff like that. It was cool. And they was like, saying, oh, come with us to the club, yada, yada, yada. I was like, nah, I'm stupid. I was tired. I'm tired. I said, nah, I'm tired, right? So they left with the girlies, and they really didn't give a good review of the girlies later on. So I was like, thank goodness I didn't go. But yeah, it was a good time. Sosua was a good place. We're hoping that Sosua makes a comeback and all that good stuff. So yeah, let's see if he's
Because the things I know would hurt people's feelings. But I don't bother with nobody. The Godfather, what's up? Shout to you, brother. For real, when you pop in, at least you have a good bit. Listen, not even that. I don't care about nobody's life. It's just these. But people were hitting me saying, is the hurricane, storms move. They don't sit in one place. They move.
They talking about the hurricane. Let me see what this says. Okay, so they had this camera at the party, right? But this was when I went to Western Union, and it was upstairs, and I had to go through. I don't like crowds, so this is the dope part. They had a table right in front of, like, not in front of my room, but like you walk, like I guess 5 feet, and then there were tables, and so I had a table like set up there. So when I came back, peeps had the drinks there and stuff like that. The only drama happened because a dude got a little tipsy and shared words with another dude. And they had, I wasn't there because I think it was during my sleepy time. You went to all these parties and don't like crowds. Well, it was girlies there. So, and like, I wasn't like had a whole lot of people, making it claustrophobic type thing. It was just a lot of people there. So plus I could always go in my room because I got food. I put it in my room and hit so I could eat later, because when I'm chilling outside, I was talking to girls because I can speak a little Spanish, so I'm talking to the girls and all that stuff like that. And it was funny because I had to translate for dudes. Then I was also talking to girls on the internet, seeing if they were coming by and all this stuff like that. But I was too tired, so I was like, no, that's okay, wait. Because every night there were girls coming by either the villa to hang out, to go see. But it was nice. It was very, very nice. But this was actually cool. I wish I would have did this. They basically have cameras all around you, and it's like what they, I guess, used in the Matrix or whatever.
Sean, what's the weather like today? It's supposed to drizzle a little bit, but everything's...
Okay, he's not really talking about this, so let's watch a food review.
Reviewing Town Hall Burger and Beer in Durham, North Carolina for the first time.
Now, this is funny because a lot of my family's from Durham, North Carolina. I usually go to a place called Bullock's. I never heard of these joints. He's from North Carolina, so.
Beer in Durham, North Carolina for the first time. Apparently, this place has some of the best burgers in town. Let's find out. Starting off with a chicken tender.
I like chicken tenders.
Sheesh. Chicken has beautiful color. It's juicy as hell on the inside, crunchy like a motherfucker on the outside. And
now, this dude like harshly critiques stuff. So when he gives good reviews, it's like, yeah, it must be good, because this dude be roasting some restaurants.
Actually seasoned this bitch. Some sauce to this bitch. The Lord is my shepherd. Jesus. We got a mac and cheese burger, bitch. Oh, that ain't bad.
Now, is that joint a burger plus a tender? Wow.
Right, yeah. So I ain't gonna lie, Town Hall, I love the concept. The meat to bun ratio is perfect. The buns are toasted, as Daddy likes. I was expecting regular mac and cheese, but you just said it and gave me fried mac and cheese. Just to give you a quick glimpse right now.
Wow. So that joint is fried mac and cheese. Fried mac and cheese with a burger. And pickles and tomatoes. Not pickles and tomatoes, but lettuce and tomatoes. Wow.
Quick
I never
noodles
saw
right
that.
now. And I ain't mad at it, bitch. My problem is the burger patty. It's not seasoned at all. It seems like you just didn't give a damn. Am I the only one that hates a big piece of lettuce on their burger? 7-9. Reviewing town.
Yeah, so that was interesting. All right. Let me see if there's anything else. Uh-oh. Now I'm FBA, Foundation Black American. So I watch this dude, O'Shea Duke Jackson, sometimes. He's a Pan-Africanist, but he's FBA too. He lives in Uganda. Let's see what he has to say.
What's going on, people?
Is this a new video?
All right.
Oh, it was like 2 hours,
My
2
last
weeks ago.
stream.
2 weeks ago.
My beautiful mother happened to be on the stream and watching and hearing me curse. So I haven't called her in about a week. So I can't be on here cursing like that. You know I'm Baptist, so I'm trying to clean it up this time. Because, you know, my mother watches every damn video.
I wish my
that I
mom
post
watched
on
every
here.
damn video. Or my pops.
Now, as you guys
They
know,
don't watch
I
Nathan.
have not done my podcast in a while. I have not done a lot of videos on Kinganda. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to have a heart-to-heart with you guys why. I've been discouraged about the state and the conditions of what goes on, not only in this country, but in Africa as a whole. Okay? I've been very discouraged when you accept the truth for what it is. Okay? And I came here, like many other Black Americans, with a lot of hope, with a lot of joy, with so much to look forward to in working with the people here in this beautiful continent. And I love it. I still do love it. But I cannot come on here and be a liar. And this is what many African countries would love for us to do. You see, what Africans, especially the ones at the top level, when they encounter Black Americans, they want us to sell Africa also. Okay, this is what they want to do. And again, at the same time, you're trying to work with Africa, promoting Africa, you're spending your money. You're investing your money. But then whenever you start to be critical of what you see here, or shit that don't make sense, all right? Whenever you see that, all of a sudden, you don't know how things work in Africa. That's what they're going to tell you. Well, this is not how things are done here. See, you don't know how things work. They'll tell you by country. This is Kenya. This is Uganda. This is Ghana. This is not how things work in Africa. Okay? That's what they're going to tell you. All right? And whatever trials and tribulations that you are going through, you're having with certain people here or with these people here, you're supposed to eat it. Okay? You're supposed to kiss ass. You're supposed to be okay with every type of problem that they give you. Now, you got to understand, they don't want to deal with your problems at all. They don't deal with your problems in America. When they come to the United States, they don't deal with your issues. We're going to be fair. Most Africans will stay away from Black Americans for whatever reasons, cultural stuff. So they don't want to deal with Black Americans' problems in America at all. And I can understand that. But when you're here, you got to deal with their problems. And they're going to make you deal with their problems. Okay? But you can't say nothing about it. And pay your money, give us your money, invest. And when you talk about us, make sure you market us to the rest of the world as if ain't nothing wrong. And so many people who have businesses here, let's say if you're in tours, you're in consultations, you know, like I said, you're going to be a person that is going to be more okay with that because you're getting something from it. But for me, I don't have tours and don't want tours. I done told y'all many times, I don't like you. I don't want to see you. I'm just being myself. Not that I hate you or nothing. I just don't. I mean, I don't, because most of the pro-blacks that come to Africa, y'all are down bad. So I don't want y'all problems here. I've welcomed some of y'all before. Y'all give me problems. I don't want to deal with you. I'm okay watching my OnlyFans and do.
Now, I've never been to Africa, any country in Africa. I thought about going. I got friends in Kenya, but that's East Africa. But I don't know. I'm not in a rush to go there. I don't know.
Doing whatever the hell I'm doing without you being there. Okay? However, this is a narrative. So let's get back to the Dr. Arikana thing. You literally will get scammed here in Africa. You will lose your money in Africa. And don't nobody care about your experience. Woo! At the same time, why they marketing to you? All you're going to get is sorry about that. That's all they're going to tell you. They're going to tell you nothing else. I'm sorry. Jeremiah Kasimba, go sit on it. Okay? Because all they're going to tell you is I'm sorry. Nothing else. You risk your stuff. Ain't no protections for your ass over here.
Yeah.
For the most part. They want you to take the risk. Come over here. Come do this. Now, to be fair, I'm going to say this. Uganda never really says that. So, you know, but most countries are even inviting y'all over there. Now they trying to even take you over to Burkina Faso where your ass
French.
don't have no level of a chance to really do nothing over there. Even if you were to get residency, who that cares about you takes you to Burkina Faso? Tell me one person. It's almost like this. Listen, I'm going to take you to a dangerous place that just had a military coup, and I'm going to get you residency there. Okay? Now, I could take you to my home country, which is Zimbabwe, and that would be better. But let me take you to a place that you have francophone issues, you speak French, it's dangerous. The country, the president has 18 assassination attempts.
Damn.
Tell me what kind of person even positions that to you and love you and
Last
care
time I
about
heard
you.
it was
What
just
kind of
8.
person that care about you even tell you some shit like that? What kind of person that care about you would even mention that? What kind of person that want the best for you even think like that? As a person who care about black people, you're supposed to tell them, no, that's not a good idea. Let's take them. If we're going to ask them to go someplace, why don't we give them a safer place? Can we go get a deal with Rwanda? Can we go to even Zimbabwe where Dr. Arikana is from? Can we go there? No, because a person that care about you, that's just going to show you they don't care about your ass. A person that care about you would never recommend that. Would never.
So he's like a Pan-African pro-black type joint. I'm more of a FBA type pro-black type joint, but not one of them Pan-Africanist dudes. And a man, stupid dumb man conservative. I'm not one of the dudes who's going to have Trump derangement syndrome or nothing like that. But whatchamacallit? Yeah, so like there's a whole lot of drama that's been going on where there's this lady called, I forgot her name. He mentioned her name. And she was part of this group called AIDA or some crap like that, and had people in America send her money because supposedly you can become citizens of Burkina Faso. That's where that young general dude took over the whole country and told France, like, you know, they don't have access to their minerals anymore. And so, but when you got there, you realized you couldn't get citizenship, but you can get permanent residency or whatever. Yeah, but they speak French there. And I wanted to go to Madagascar because I have friends that live in Madagascar, but they speak French there. And I only talk to them on WhatsApp, and I have to use the translator all the time because I can speak Spanish, and I have a conversation in Spanish, but I can't speak a lick of French. And all these peeps is like, but you know, if you can speak one, you can speak. No, it's not the same. Or that if you can speak Spanish, you can speak Italian type something. No. You might be able to understand some things, but you can't hold a conversation. All right, so that's really all he's talking about. He's venting from 2 weeks ago. All right, let's close this. What? The future of finals? Okay, let's see what this
The
is.
finals had a very interesting week, where of course we had the stealth
I have not played the finals in a good minute.
drop of TDM, but also CNS's return, which also led on to the finals and Nexon earnings call, and those paint a much larger picture than originally thought, where the finals has a very bright future all the way till 2027. Plus, I detail all of that in my recent videos, including some revises and updates.
And the interesting part with the finals is the makers of the finals is also the makers of Arc Raiders. And Arc Raiders basically has a 10-year vision. So, yeah, maybe I'll get into some finals. But I'm not that good at the finals. But I like it, though. It's a cool game. All right, let's see, DayZ. I did buy the DLC for DayZ. Did I? Hold on 1 second. Let me check. Let me see. Yeah, so oh no. Okay, that's not out yet. But I did buy this Frostline, and I did I bought this a long time ago. I think I bought this recently, Frostline. This is coming soon. I don't know if when does it say coming soon, but when? Oh, 2026. So I don't have to worry about that. I'm broke. Yeah. So basically, I bought the only game that I would even be thinking of getting now is like Call of Duty 7. And I'll tell you this is the interesting part, right? So I'm playing Call of Duty 7. And everybody else was like, when they saw the Battlefield 6 joint, they was like, yo, this is just telling you don't buy Call of Duty, buy Battlefield 6. Now, I didn't touch Battlefield 6. I bought Battlefield 6 just off the people's reviews and saying how dope it was and how it's going back to Battlefield 4. And they were real, it's true. But I played Call of Duty 6. I liked it. And it's different than, is it 7? Whatever. It's different from the Call of Duty 6 I'm playing now. I forgot, because it ain't Call of Duty 5, right? Modern Warfare, whatever it's called. Anyway, I like this current generation of Call of Duty, but the one coming up is faster, it's smoother, the maps are interesting. So I liked it. And all these people are saying, oh, it's much of the same. Yeah, but it's different. I wish you could bring your cosmetics to this game, and that might slow me up of buying it. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to buy it because Arc Raiders is dope. I think Arc Raiders is going to be like the Ring of Elysium joint. It's going to be easy to, literally like this. I played Arc Raiders, the server or whatever stream joint, right? Where they were testing the server stress test. And one of my homies contacted me because he saw me that I played it, and he said, how do I like it? Literally, this is what happened. I logged into the game, made my character. Then my mom's called and said, I can't get in contact with your father. Can you come downstairs and check to make sure? So I come downstairs. He's watching the game in the kitchen. And I'm like, she just did that because she wanted something right then and there and couldn't wait because he was on the phone with one of his friends. And that's why she couldn't get in contact with him. And the TV was too loud, and that's why he couldn't hear her yelling. So she couldn't wait 5 minutes, so she disturbed me because when women want something, they want it now. And sometimes you just gotta be like, no, you wait. So I come back upstairs. I'm tired. I had to go to work. So instead, I turned off the game and took a nap and then went to go to work. So that's why I told my homeboy all I did was make my character and that's it. So then I played the game with him. We did an open party. So one stranger dude joined the party. Everybody had a mic. We were all talking to each other. We all share friend requests with each other and all that good stuff. Well, me and the other dude was already friends, but we shared friend requests with him. And then my friend had to go. And then the new guy and I played matches, and we invited this other dude. Now, this other dude was cool. He had a mic, but he didn't really talk all the time because he used like game cues. So like you could use the button to hit yes, and the game would say yes instead of you just saying yes, right? He could use cues in the game to say, don't go there. There's enemies up there. And I was like, yo, that's so dope. And he's not saying it. The game is saying it because of buttons he's hitting. And then somebody else joined our party there and we became friends, right? All of us became friends because we were both strangers to him. And we had just met each other in game. So I'm thinking Arc Raiders is going to be the new friendship joint where you're going to be able to make stupid, dumb friends. So maybe I'm thinking with Arc Raiders that they make a joint because they're making it so I think you could decorate your base or something like that. You know what I'm saying? That like make it something like Palia where you could go visit other people's bases or some crap like that. I don't know. Make it so you can go someplace in the game and play a card game with each other. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Something, you know, I don't know. They could do anything they want because it's their own story. Tap in. Got you for life. Hootie hoo! Yo, what up, kid? Oh, man. It's so, so that Arc Raiders is going to be that joint that has me hooked for a good minute. Now, I still have to do certain things with Battlefield. The cool thing about Battlefield is the dailies I can get done stupid dumb quick. The other challenges take a little while. So, let me see. Let me see what they say about DayZ.
Oh my goodness, we're back. In DayZ.
Oh, another game I bought this month was Scum. And I didn't play too much of it. I think I'm still kind of on the training thing where they're teaching you how to craft stuff and stuff like that. It doesn't look complicated, but it looks like you got to like build your life in the game. It's like crazy.
Demon Lord? I can tell already this is going to be a good one. So I just picked a random server to see what was going on in DayZ, and my goodness, the game has changed.
I haven't played this game.
To us, I haven't played DayZ for so long.
Ditto.
Like, oh my gosh, we've got achievements. What the frick? Shopping Queen? Baby Shark and so. Yeah, I haven't played DayZ for so long. I thought I'd just maybe get back into it. In fact, where should we go? Let's see. Maybe I think. Well, we definitely.
Let's skip a little bit.
I really wanted to be remembered.
Oh.
Guess we. I mean, I guess we just sell some stuff. See what we got.
My hat.
Yes, you ought.
Can I get your helmet?
What?
Your helmet. In we exchange. You get my hat, my ghillie hat, and you give me a.
Yes. Yes.
It's just so magical up here. Look at the bromances forming.
The bromance.
Oh my gosh, Blue Viking sells for 3,000. They both sell for 3,500. There you go. Tiny Egyptian was what I needed.
All right, so, you know, it might be... Oh, did you hear about the drama with this chick?
They said this one looks better on you, she said. Okay. Unless you want to try the...
So this is an Asian chick with a deep voice. Supposedly she and some other chick sexually assaulted some nerdy black kid and her channel got banned on Twitch.
Tell her she's glad.
I found her later on. She got famous during the pandemic on TikTok. I found her a little bit later because it was weird because she had a stupid deep ass voice. And then she was at Kai Cenat's Streamer University or whatever like that.
他说你是 glazing 你知道什么是Tokyo Drift 吗 Last turn 哇你像 NASCAR racer 啊
She wants us to pay her so she could pay the company she works for so we could watch a 4D film.
Yeah.
How do you kindly tell her?
他说你知道 Pop Smoke 是谁吗 Papa Smoker Papa Smoker Why are you calling that? That is not that name.
Ask him, has he tried Battlefield 6 yet?
你有没有玩过那个游戏叫 Battlefield 6? They said this one looks better on you, she said.
Okay.
You thinking in Chinese Battlefield 6 is said differently than Battlefield 6. All right, anyway, let's see what else we got before we go back to the... Okay, here we go. Disney Wars. Okay, this seems old. All right. Oh, what the freak? All right, let me see. The freak? Oh, this is kind of funny. I usually tell my homeboy Sensei to watch these videos.
You didn't earn that raise yet, Gracie. Funny, because I already worked for it. Maybe I'll let someone higher up decide that. Hey, Gracie, about your paycheck. Yeah, I saw it. It's still your old rate. That's not a mistake. Wait, what? I've been opening, closing, and handling deposits. That's manager work. Well, I haven't been impressed with your management. Maybe you just need a little more training. Or maybe you just don't like the way I do my job. I'm saying you haven't earned the raise yet. Maybe next paycheck, if you improve. That's not how this works. I signed the paperwork. That raise is official. Not anymore. Not until I say so. Okay, we'll see about that. District office, this is Aria speaking. Hi, Aria. This is Gracie from the downtown store. I was promoted to shift lead 2 weeks ago, signed the wage form, but my check still shows my old rate. My manager said she didn't feel I'd earned the raise yet.
Wait, she told you that? Freya doesn't have the authority to approve or deny raises. Every promotion goes through me, and I don't have any record of yours.
So, I'm not even officially a manager?
Not officially, but if you've been doing the work, we'll fix that. I'll come in today to handle it, and have a chat with your manager.
Thank you, Aria. Really. You didn't earn that raise yet, Gracie.
Okay, it's not the same type of thing. What? Racism in the Philippines? I'll be going there soon.
I really had a good day as I started though. But, excuse me guys, it's first time having so much emotion. I never felt so bad because of being black, you see. That's really hurt my heart today. To see American people being so racist with me. Because of their child. I'm an orphan, so that's really broke my heart today. I never feel so... It's never felt so harder for me for being black. But I'm proud of being black, you see. I'm super proud, so whatever will put me down, my color of skin, whatever in this country, I'm gonna leave it to God. Like only Filipino can eat here. Yes. Me, I cannot eat here. Thank you so much.
Hello. Let's talk about
Oh Jesus, she doesn't know. I mean, there is like colorism. I don't know if it's racism. I mean, they are Asian and we are black or white or whatever, but yeah. Let me see. 2 years later, the brutal truth. Let's see what he says.
So 2 years ago, I moved from the U.S. to the Philippines, thinking it would be easy, it's nice and cheap, cheap living, beautiful beaches, beautiful women, friendly people. What could go wrong? Well, I had my passport stolen. I overstayed my visa by several months, and I had to navigate cultural differences that I really didn't see coming. And I learned more about myself than I ever expected. But here I am, 2 years later, and I'm still here. So stick with me until the end, because in this video, I'm going to tell you the brutally honest truth about what these last 2 years have actually been like. We'll talk about the good, the bad, what I wish I knew before I came here, and whether I would do it all over again.
And he already has a video that I want to watch called Dating a Filipina, 6 Things Foreign Men Get Completely Wrong.
Hey there, Rick right here, and welcome back to my channel. And yes, it's really me. After a brief hiatus, I am back. And this week is very special. This is actually the 2-year anniversary of me living here full time. And I want to get real with you in this video, not just about the highlights and all the good things like most channels, but I want to tell you the whole picture. What I wish I knew before I came, how this place changed me since I've been here, and I'll talk about the things that I love and dislike, the mistakes that I made, and whether I would do this all over again. This is going to be brutally honest and maybe a little uncomfortable and vulnerable for me at times, but it's going to be real. And if you find value in this video, do me a favor, give it a like, and if you're new here, please subscribe to the channel to get more information about what life is like in the Philippines. So let's get into it. So first, let me start by telling you what I wish someone had told me before I actually moved here, because even though I'd been visiting every couple of months for 2 years, living here is much different. Number one, the honeymoon phase is real and it ends. Those first 3 to 6 months, everything was amazing. The beaches, the food, the people, the traveling, the adventure. I felt like I was on a permanent vacation, and it was absolutely fucking amazing. But then reality set in, and the traffic that seemed charming before, it became frustrating. You know, the cultural differences that, you know, were interesting when I was visiting became challenging living here. And the things that annoyed me but I overlooked before, because I was only visiting, they started bothering me. And, you know, I wish I knew that the excitement was going to wear off. And, you know, that's when you find out if you actually really want to live here versus just vacationing here. Number two, you can't escape yourself by moving, you know, to a whole nother country. I thought that moving here would solve certain problems that I was running away from, or that would make me happier automatically, and that's simply not true. You know, new life, new place, everything would be perfect, right? Wrong. Your problems follow you. You know, if you were unhappy at home, you're gonna probably be unhappy here too, just with much better weather. You know, and I wish I knew that, you know, moving to another country doesn't fix the internal issues that I was dealing with. It just gives you a different backdrop while you're, you know, trying to work through them. Number three, relationships here are complicated. And I thought dating would be easy, and in some ways it really, really is. But, you know, the cultural differences, if you're not ready for them, you know, especially around money and family and communication, that's a whole learning curve all by itself. And the passport situation I had, that taught me some really hard, tough lessons about being more careful and who to trust, and choosing partners more carefully, and protecting myself. You know, I wish I knew that the dating cultures require way more awareness and boundaries than when I had first arrived, because I was dating someone long distance for 2 years, and this is different. Number four, you're going to be lonely at times, even if you're surrounded by a ton of people. I've met tons of people, locals, expats, friendly faces everywhere. But deep, meaningful friendships, you know, that takes time to develop. And I have them now. But when I first moved here, I was alone. And being far from family and old friends, it hits you while you're trying to build those relationships, and it's harder than I expected. And there were nights where I felt completely alone, despite being a country full of happy people. And I wish I had known ahead of time that, loneliness is part of the journey, and it's part of the whole expat experience. It's not a sign that, I made the wrong choice, but it.
Now this is funny. I I never felt alone when I was in Cambodia. There were some days I was bored because I didn't have anything to do or anyone to hang out with, but I never really felt like alone. And maybe that's because I lived with a Cambodian family and I could always go out to a bar and just like start talking to girlies or whatever. But maybe there were times I felt like alone, but it was more just being bored. Cause either I didn't feel like going to a bar, and I didn't know what to do. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to go to a restaurant because I wasn't hungry. And so I don't know. I think it was maybe boredom more than just but like he said, that happens here too. Bored.
It's part of the journey, and it's something you need to be prepared for. Number 5, the bureaucracy here is painful. I knew about Filipino time and their laid-back culture, but what I really didn't grasp, because you don't deal with it when you're just visiting, is how challenging it would be with dealing with the government agencies and offices and visas and permits and the paperwork and the runaround and their hours. Oh my God, what a nightmare. The passport situation was months of stress, uncertainty, navigating systems that I didn't understand, and don't even get me started on the language barriers, But you need to know that you're going to have patience. You're a guest here. Budget extra time for anything official. And accept that things are going to just take longer than they probably should, but it's just the way they do things here. Number 6, cheap living. Depends entirely on your choices. Yes, the Philippines can be very cheap. But if you want Western food, you want to eat out every night, you want to party, you want imported goods, you want air conditioning every 24 hours a day, and you want a Western lifestyle, you're going to spend the same as you did back home. And I didn't think of that, and
Now, it's lucky that I don't really like aircon. So I remember when I moved with the Campbell family, they was like, oh, Robert, you can stay here and we'll put aircon. I was like, no, all I need was a fan. I didn't even really use aircon like at all. Like maybe I'd turn it on for like 30 minutes and then turn it off. I just didn't like it. All right, so that's cool. And this is Frag Punk. I'm showing you all this so that you can get your drops for Twitch. Let me make sure I got these. Okay, so I didn't get it. All right, so I'll save this one for later because at least I know I got it already started. Okay, let's see who got the drops. Okay. All right, back to the video.
were spent, unfortunately. Cheap living requires adapting to local lifestyle, not Western. And if you can't let go of those Western comforts, then budget accordingly. Number 7, you're gonna change a lot more than you expect. And
Not really. I didn't change. I really didn't change. Like, it was funny. Like, when I owned this bar, right, and I owned it with a business partner, and then when like I paid off her debt by paying off half the bar, and then we became business partners because I don't drink. I didn't drink really. I still don't really drink. So I wanted her know-how of where to get everything and how to actually run a bar. But she wasn't staying there most of the time because she owed people more money because she borrowed more money and didn't pay. And so people came looking for her, so she wasn't showing up. So I was basically running the bar myself. And I guess she thought, oh, I could be a mark and she could just use me. But I wasn't letting her go into the till to just pick out money, whatever she wanted to go out and drinking with her friends because we had to reinvest it in the business and buy alcohol for the next day. I don't know. But she was like, you changed. I was like, I didn't change. I just got tired of your nonsense.
I moved here. I thought I would be the same person, just in a different location. But, you know, living here has completely changed how I think about time and money.
But it might be because he was an asshole back in America, and now he had to learn. He was forced to learn patience. I'm patient anyway, so.
And relationships and friendships and family and, you know, the things that really matter in life. And, you know, this isn't just a location change. This is an entirely new life transformation if you adapt to it and if you let it be and if you immerse yourself into the culture. It can actually be a beautiful, life-changing and growing experience. So exactly how did living here in the Philippines change me? Well, let me break it down for you. So number one, I'm way more patient now. I used to get really frustrated when things didn't go my way or I didn't go according to plan. You know, traffic, delays, appointments that run late, meetings that start late. It absolutely drove me crazy. 24 years in the military, punctuality is important. Now, I just accept it. Filipino time taught me that not everything needs to be rushed. You don't need to be in a hurry. And things happen when they're going to happen. And this made me feel less stressed and much more present when I was able to accept that. Number two, my relationship with money really shifted. You know, back home, I was always chasing more money, more income, more stuff, bigger and better, the nicer house, the nicer car. But here, I realized how little that you actually need to be comfortable and happy. And, you know, I'm happy with a simple life now. I live well on a fraction of what I spent back home. You know, I stopped equating money with happiness, and that was really difficult for me, but it was a huge shift. Number three, I value relationships differently now. Filipino culture is so relationship focused. You know, their family, community, connection.
Oh, he's hanging
that's
out with
everything to them, and that's what matters here. You know, it made me realize how transactional and how isolated Western life, especially the U.S., how it can be. And here, people genuinely care about each other. They check in on you. They show up. They literally give you the shirt off their back. And I've become much more relationship oriented and, you know, less individualistic.
Well, okay, that's not how it is in Cambodia. Cambodia is more like America, I guess, in that sense.
Number four, I'm much more adaptable. You're a guest in another country, and when you're living in another foreign culture, it forces you to adapt constantly. It's a different language, there are different customs, there's different ways of doing things. And I've just learned to roll with it. You know, you roll with the punches and the changes and be flexible and not cling to so tightly to my way of doing things. You know, this adaptability has made me more resilient overall and much more calm and less stressful. Five, I'm much more grateful. I see how hard Filipinos work for so little money, and yet they're still so happy and they still have joy.
Now, like I tell everybody, this is what I saw wherever I went, that the poorer people were usually more happy than the rich people were all the time. In America, it's different because poor people expect a lot in America, where poor people in other places don't expect things. So that expectation is what would make people angry or upset or sad. You know what I'm saying? So let me see his other videos.
You know, when I first moved here, I thought dating a Filipina would be just like dating any woman back home, except just in a tropical location. But I was wrong about almost everything. I mean, the communication style, the amount of family involvement, and the expectations around money. It's just nothing worked the way I thought it would, or definitely not the way it did back home. So stick with me until the end, because in this video, I'm going to tell you the 6 things that most foreign men get completely wrong about dating Filipinas. And I'm also going to let you know what you actually need to know so that you can avoid these same mistakes that I made.
All right, we'll see if his joints is good as Irish Smart Girl Philippines. Cause she's my go-to when trying to find out about Philippine relationships between you know, a Filipina and a foreigner.
Hey there, Rick right here.
Because as
and
you can
welcome
see,
back
I'm
to my
not
channel.
subscribed to him yet,
Today,
because I've
we're
just
talking
found
about
him.
something that a lot of people have asked me about in the past, and that's dating Filipinas as a foreigner and what it's like. And I'm gonna be completely honest with you. You know, if you come here with Western dating expectations, then you're gonna be confused, frustrated, or even worse, you might even end up in a bad situation. So let me break down what foreign men get wrong for the most part, and how to actually approach relationships here in the Philippines. So let's get into it. Okay, first, let me be completely clear. I'm speaking in generalities based on what I've observed and what I've experienced and what my friends have experienced. Not every Filipina is the same. There are more modern and more independent women in bigger cities like Manila, and they do date Westerners. They date like Westerners as well. And there are traditional provincial women with very, very different expectations. But there are still cultural patterns that bridge those that most foreign men just don't know, and they don't understand when they first start dating here. And these misunderstandings usually lead to failed relationships, shitloads of drama, and sometimes foreigners get taken advantage of, and in some very extreme cases, you can even get arrested and deported. So I'm going to break down the 6 biggest mistakes that foreign men make and what Filipinos actually expect in the dating world and in relationships, and how to navigate Filipino dating culture respectfully and successfully. So some of this might challenge what you've heard in other videos or other channels or other people, or what you might actually hope for, but I'd rather give you the truth than let you walk into a situation blind and not know, you know, what to do. And again, this is all based on my own personal experience and what I've observed with my friends. And you may have had a different experience, or maybe someone you know had a different experience, and that's okay. It's not better, it's not worse, it's just different. Okay, mistake number 1 is assuming Filipinos are submissive and traditional. This is a huge misconception, especially among older foreign men who come here looking for a traditional wife.
I think what happens a lot of times is when you travel, you realize girls are the same no matter what. There's just certain cultural expectations or cultural traditions that make them more, I guess if you could say, and I don't like saying submissive, but I'll say more cooperative and more traditional like, right? So if you go to a Filipina, if you date a Filipina, she'll cook for you, right? But, you know, you got to take up, you're paying for the food, and, you know, you're paying for other stuff so that, you know, she can, no, I don't like them anymore. Like, you know, usually I'm not like, there's only a few looks I like from Filipinas. Some Filipinas don't have a look I like, but, like Dominican girls, they're stubborn, right? I thought it was just my homegirl, but after finding out, that's just a cultural thing. Culturally, the girls are just stubborn. That's just what it is. And it's not the same as like American hard-headed chicks. It's just they're stubborn. So they kind of got taken off my list. Let's listen to what this guy says about Filipino chicks. Because even in Cambodia,
Filipino
chicks weren't submissive. I've seen girls yelling at their dudes for, you know, not like taking care of the family and all that stuff like that. So all that, oh, Asians are submissive. I don't think peeps realize what guys mean by submissive. That's why I think dudes more than likely mean cooperative, like not causing hell and arguing so much. Like they're not gonna, if you're doing things right, they're not really gonna argue with you. I had to yell at my Cambodian girlfriend specifically for her to yell back at me because she would just stay quiet and listen to me yell at her. It was crazy. I was like, what the freak? Say something. It was a bonkers.
Culture values respect and family harmony, especially, you know, amongst the partners. And yes, many Filipinos are raised to be caring and accommodating and to spoil their partners. Most are very traditional, but submissive, not even close. So don't make that mistake. You know, Filipinos here, they run households, they manage money, they make major family decisions. And in many families, the Filipina is actually the boss. You know, the husband goes out, he works, he earns the money, but the wife controls the budget. The wife makes the financial decisions, and Filipinos can be incredibly strong-willed, opinionated, even a little stubborn and assertive, especially when it comes to family or people or things that they really care about. So, you know, if you come here expecting a quiet, demure, obedient, submissive woman who never challenges you,
I don't think that even existed when people were actually thinking about that. Like, I don't think that existed like that anywhere. You know what I mean? And I think that word submissive, people just meant cooperative and didn't just make your life a living hell because of the extreme they saw from chicks in the Western world where it was just like, yo, nothing's working out. Every relationship's ending in like bad news. You know what I'm saying? And you wind up taking mad L's like crazy. So, you know. Like for me, I'm a passport bro, like I said. And I know peeps don't really understand what that means. Oh, you're just going overseas for this or that. Nah. That means I'm not going to marry a chick in this country because it's financial suicide, basically. Because a woman could just wake up one morning and be like, you know what? This ain't working out for me. I'm not happy anymore. You're boring, or you know what I mean? I just don't like the way your breath smells in the morning, or you know, your morning wood is annoying me, or like, you know, you leave the toilet seat up and it's annoying me. So, you know, no contest of divorce, and you know, she just divorces you, and then you got to split up all the assets. If you got kids, then you got to deal with that. I want to deal with that nonsense. Where if you're overseas, you're not going to have that same, she's not going to have that same access to your cash one, except for the cash maybe you have there. And even that is limited. And well, in the Philippines also, there's no divorce. So you get married to a chick in the Philippines, you can't divorce her because there's no such thing as divorce in the Philippines.
and buddy, you're in for
You can get an annulment, but you can't get divorced.
a rude awakening, because what you'll actually get is a partner who respects you if you respect her, but who will absolutely stand her ground when she needs to. She's not a pushover. She will treat you like a king, and she will spoil you rotten, as long as you also take care of her and you make her feel appreciated and you don't take those things for granted. You know, the guys here who succeed in relationships are the ones who they treat their Filipinos as equals and as a partner, not as a subordinate or a slave. You know, the ones who fail are the ones looking for someone to control, and that's just not going to work here. You know, here in the Philippines, respectful and family-oriented does not mean submissive.
Now that's the hard part, not
Mistake
understanding
number two
family involvement.
is underestimating how involved her family will actually be in your relationship. You know, in the US, you date the person, but in Philippines, you date the person and their entire family, and maybe even the entire barangay if she's out in the province. So some things you need to expect. Her family will want to meet you early, sometimes even after just a couple of dates. they're going to ask you questions and that are going to seem a little personal. They're going to ask about your income. They're going to ask about your intentions. They're going to ask about your future plans. Do you plan to stay here? Are you going to get married? They're going to have opinions about your relationship, and they expect to be heard. And if you get serious, they're going to expect financial help once you get serious, especially if you get married. And they're going to be involved in major decisions such as where you live, how you spend money, and even how you raise the kids. And, you know, don't get it wrong. This is not her being immature or dependent or needy, you know, on her parents. This is just Filipino culture. Family here is everything. And if you can't accept that her family is always going to be a priority, then just don't fucking date a Filipino. You know, stay home or, you know, date a Western girl. And I've seen...
Yeah, I was talking with 2 Filipinos in Cambodia, and it was mad funny. We were like, yo, we just want to date you. We don't want to date your entire family. And they were Filipino. But I think we're talking about dating Cambodian chicks because they're kind of like the same style in that way. I didn't really have to deal with that in Cambodia too much. So
foreign men get frustrated because their girlfriend wants to send money home to her parents, or because the family needs something, or the family expects them to pay for, you know, a niece's tuition, or, you know, simply because of some major decisions require family input. And they're just not used to that back home in their own country, especially in the US. And, you know, sometimes they see it as the girlfriend is just being too dependent or putting the family first, or maybe the family is taking advantage. But from the Filipino perspective, you know, family support is normal, and it's expected and it's honorable for the children to grow up and take care of their parents. And here's what you need to accept. Her parents' opinions matter a lot. And, you know, you're going to be expected to help her family financially, you know, if you get serious, especially if you get married, you know. And another thing is family gatherings, they're mandatory. They're not optional. So just plan to go. Don't fight it. Extended family like cousins, aunts, uncles, they're all part of the package. And if you can't handle this, be upfront with her early. You know, don't start dating her and lead her on. And then, you know, later on you resent her and you resent her family. That's just not going to work. You know, you're not dating just her. You, here in the Philippines, you're entering an entire family system. And that includes sometimes the neighbors and the barangay. So be prepared. Mistake number 3, not understanding Filipino indirect communication. And this is frustrating sometimes. Filipinos often communicate indirectly, and they do this to avoid conflict and preserve harmony, because Filipinos avoid conflict like the plague. And this confuses the hell out of Western men sometimes, who are, you know, used to direct communication. You know, some examples are, she's going to say, it's up to you. But she actually has a strong preference. Sometimes she might say, I'm fine, but she's clearly upset. Yes, tempo is real. Sometimes she might drop hints instead of actually stating what she wants directly. And sometimes she'll agree to something just to avoid the confrontation, but then she's going to be obviously unhappy about it later. And, you know, some Western guys, they interpret this that she's just being passive aggressive, or she's playing games, or she simply doesn't know how to communicate, or she's not being honest. And, you know, I got to tell you, it's not games. It's just cultural communication. And it's rooted in something called haya, which is shame or saving face, and something called pakikisama, forgive my Bisaya, which means maintaining harmony. And now, the best way to handle this is to learn to read between the lines and ask her follow-up questions. Create a safe space for her to be able to express herself directly without judgment or worrying that it's going to cause an argument or a fight. And pay attention to her body language and her tone, not just the words that she says. You know, sometimes she's going to say, bahala ka, which means it's up to you. Offer options and watch her reaction. Over time, you know, she's going to feel more safe and she's going to trust you more, and she'll likely become more direct. But, you know, early on in the beginning, you know, you have to expect this indirect communication. And please don't take it personally. Don't take it as her being dishonest. You know, Filipino culture it's layered. It's not direct. And you have to learn to listen to what's not being said. Mistake number 4, thinking Filipino dating works just like Western casual dating. You know, in the US, dating culture, especially, you know, in apps like Tinder, casual dating is normal. You know, it's okay to date multiple people. You date a couple of times, you keep things light, and you don't define the relationship right away. But here in Filipino culture, dating is serious from the beginning. And they have a saying here that they date to marry. So if you're going on dates with a Filipina, she probably assumes that you're exclusive. And she probably assumes that you're thinking about and considering a future together. She's definitely going to assume that you're not seeing other people. And she's going to assume that you're going to want to meet her family soon. The talking stage or the situationship, it's not really a thing here. You're either dating seriously or you're not. And I've seen foreign guys, you know, they casually date multiple Filipinas here, not realizing how the culture is. They think it's no big deal. And then they wonder why there's a shitload of drama when the women actually find out. You know, in Filipino culture, that's considered cheating. You know, even if you never officially had the conversation and said you were exclusive, it's what they assume. And here, sex implies serious commitment right off the bat. Filipinos are taught that sex should happen with a committed future.
This doesn't talk about girls that work in a bar or something like that. So, you know, he's talking about like regular Filipinas.
Focused relationship, especially ideally marriage. And, you know, obviously not everybody follows the rules. There's exceptions, and there are some women that, you know, they do what they want to do, especially the younger, more liberal women in the bigger cities. But, you know, overall, the cultural expectation it's still there, you know, especially from her parents and her family. And if you sleep with a Filipina, she's likely going to assume that you're already in a serious, committed relationship and hopefully headed towards marriage. So if you come here and you just want to date casual and have casual fun, that's fine. Just be honest with her up front. Don't lead her on thinking there's a future when that's not. And accept that most traditional Filipinos aren't going to be interested in something like that. You know, Filipino dating culture is relationship focused. It's not casual. And that's just something that you really need to prepare for if you're not ready for that. Mistake number 5, and this is a big one, not understanding financial expectations. You know, money is a huge part of Filipino relationships, and, you know, sometimes foreign men either don't realize this or they eventually get bitter about it. But here's the reality. You know, in this culture, the man is expected to be the man and to pay for dates, always. At least in the beginning. When you get serious later, then, you know, that changes. And if you're in a relationship, you're expected to help her financially, especially, you know, if she's from a province or a lower income background. That's just the way it is. And if you get serious, you're going to be expected to help her family. You might be asked to help with a sibling's education.
Or remember, if the Filipina chick has a job, she's going to use her money to send to the family. If you just talk it out straight up and down, then, you know, she's not going to be like, oh, you take care of the family. You got to talk about boundaries at the beginning, about like putting a budget up. Like, this is how much the family's going to get every month or whatever like that, and put them on like a budget or whatever. You know what I mean? Or else every time they need something, they're going to be calling up, and then you'll get into arguments with her and all that stuff like that if she doesn't have a job.
Education, or, you know, the parents' medical bills, or some home repair, or some emergency. And gifts on birthdays, Christmas, Valentine's Day, and anniversaries are expected. And she's going to compare what you give to what her girlfriend's boyfriends are giving. And don't get me wrong, this isn't gold digging. This is just cultural expectation. This is Philippines, and it's rooted in something called utang na laub, which means the debt of gratitude, and family responsibility. Again, excuse my Bisaya. But here's the problem. Some women do actually take advantage of foreign men. It happens. I'm not naive. It just does. And knowing that they're seen as wealthy. And some foreign men attract the wrong women simply because they like to flash their money. They like to show off, and they want to be the big chief. But here's how you really navigate this. You know, be generous, but set boundaries early. You know, help her and help her family reasonably, but don't let them take advantage and become an ATM. And that's once you get serious. And watch for red flags. You know, if she only contacts you when she needs money, or she doesn't have a job and she's making no effort to find one, or she's constantly asking you for money and the requests are escalating, that's an issue. And understand there's a difference between cultural expectations and manipulation. A genuine Filipina, a good Filipina, she's going to appreciate any help that you give her, but she's not going to demand it, especially constantly. She's going to contribute what she can, even if it's only a small amount. She's going to work or try to improve her situation. And she's going to show you love in ways beyond asking for money. You know, whereas a manipulative Filipina, she's always going to have some kind of fucking emergency. She'll disappear if you say no and you don't give her money, you don't help her. And sometimes she might introduce you to her family immediately and she'll have them ask you for money. I've seen that one happen. She might make you feel guilty if you don't give her enough, or you don't give more, or you don't give it all. And you know, the thing is, money matters in Filipino relationships. Be generous, but don't be stupid. And mistake number 6 is not acknowledging the age gap dynamic. Okay? Age gap relationships are way more accepted here in the Philippines than they are in the West. And it's nothing to see a 60-year-old man with a beautiful young 25-year-old Filipina. You know, the girls I've dated here have been much younger than me. And people don't bat an eye. But just because it's accepted doesn't mean doesn't come with any complications. And here's a couple. There's an obvious power imbalance. You know, if you're significantly older, you're most likely wealthier and you're foreign. You know, there's going to be an inherent power imbalance, and be aware of it. You know, you're both going to be in different stages of life. You know, a 25-year-old Filipina and a 55-year-old are going to want different things. You know, maybe she might want kids. She might want adventure. She might want to build a family and build a life. And you might just want to have some stable, relaxing time and just enjoy your retirement. There's going to be some social judgment. Even though Filipinos don't openly judge, other foreigners will. And it's most likely because they're just jealous of your beautiful young Filipina. You know, so expect that. Genuine connection. You know, you have to ask yourself honestly, would she be with you if you were her same age and you were broke at her age? Now, if the answer is no, what does that really say about the relationship? You know, now I'm not saying age gaps relationships don't work and they can't work.
Well, that's different from Smart Girl Philippines. She says something completely different. So, plus, I'm not going to date no 50-year-old freaking Filipina chick. You crazy. Wouldn't even date a 40 or 30-year-old Filipina chick. So, yeah. All right. So, I'm going to call it a day for a little bit. I'm going to go take a nap because I kind of didn't sleep last night and then woke up and had to go shopping. And I said, let me go share with my peoples these videos. I'm probably going to wake up in a few more hours because I ain't got to go to work tonight, I don't think. And that'll be game time, peoples. That'll be game time. See you on the flip side. Thank you for hanging